On to the dirty work.
Anyway, yeah, moving on. We're going to continue. We're going to talk about every card in the set, and right now we're going to talk about every single non-starter deck card.
Yeah.
So all the unique booster pack stuff.
New cards.
Brand new in this set. We are going to talk about it, starting with Black Protective Drill.
That dinosaur's dying.
Yeah, Goku hates that dinosaur.
That fish is
That's
dead.
Gohan.
I say,
Is that Gohan?
yeah,
Yeah,
Lorraine,
you know what? I think
Lorraine
that is
for your
Gohan.
card database app. Technically, Gohan is in this card.
I thought it was. I listed it as Goku, so I'll
pretty
go
sure.
and fix that.
No, so-
I can
well,
see
no,
why
no,
you would make
sorry,
that
sorry you
mistake.
don't know the backs of Saiyans.
Yeah.
You gotta
like,
really
well,
be
no,
a
I'm
lifer.
there are times where Goku's hair is drawn slightly different.
Right. Anyway, this card's bad.
Yeah.
yeah, it's kind of.
I like the way they're going with it because there's a lot of old sets 5 and 6 black cards that revolve around doing something if the top card of the deck is something. But you lose the phase, and there's no way to just guarantee that it'll still be there in the next phase.
Yeah.
Sure.
And also, it's no endurance, it's a dead
Yeah.
card, blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't really...
I bet it still wouldn't really get used, but if it made your opponent skip, it would be way more interesting.
That would be
Yeah.
a lot more
I agree.
interesting.
Also, black does not have drill support, so
Yeah.
if you're
Right.
going to run a drill in black, it's got to be pretty powerful. Like smoothness drill level good, but
And it reveals your hand, which is very rarely an
and
advantageous
then gives
thing.
your opponent an action.
Right.
Yeah.
Here I am.
Anyway.
Yeah, don't like it.
Nope.
Next.
Black Breaker.
Black Breaker. That's almost a tongue twister.
Ah.
I had not seen this card before
Yeah,
the
I
full
hadn't
set
either.
This is a
came
recent
up.
reveal.
So it's the
okay.
second modifier, I think, in the set that
Pseudo-smoothness.
Yeah,
simulates.
the other one is the attached card.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that simulates old devious mods.
Mm-hmm.
And this it lasts for theoretically 2 combats.
Yeah.
Right.
If you enter 2 turns in a row, which is kind of neat.
It could
Um,
last 3 combats.
Yeah, if your opponent
Oh,
decides he wants to have some more fun with it.
Oh,
Right,
sure,
exactly.
yeah. If you enter, that would be a lot of action in a game, but not
Uh-huh.
impossible.
If black had more multi-attacks or
Exactly,
hand
hand
advantage, I
advantage,
think this would be
right.
really cool. But as it stands, there aren't a ton of reasons to run this card.
Yeah. If
Yeah,
it had
I agree.
endurance, I'd be a little less bummed out about it.
Or anger
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. One more thing.
4 stages.
I like
Okay.
the hit effect on it, but
Yeah, the hit effect
Yeah.
definitely helps.
I think
but
it definitely needs a little more
Something.
pizzazz.
Yeah, I agree.
not gonna see play relative to Black's other competitive
It'll be neat
attacks.
to steal.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next, Black Dispel.
Black energy block.
Ah.
Black Trunks.
I hadn't seen this one.
This
chopping
card
a
nets you
thing.
hand advantage,
Yeah.
which is cool.
It's got the old Vegeta thing going for it.
Not as crazy as it would be in Devious, but
No.
Yeah.
still. Basically, if you think of it like stop an energy, you may raise your anger 1, lower your anger 1, or gain 6 stages. Then it's pretty good.
The density on black's energy blocks are insane.
And this one, I don't think really makes the cut.
Right.
Right.
This one doesn't
now.
have 3 endurance,
Yeah.
so
It's
Yeah.
no black resistance.
man.
Even black resistance.
Oh, right. Black resistance, I think, is the
kinda-
third
Yeah, that's-
best black
Sure,
energy block
that's
now.
a
Right.
bubble
Maybe.
E black energy block
terrifying.
compared
I
to what the style's got available.
weird.
We'll see it in a second, but I think the other energy block Black got this set is better than
It's
this one.
probably my favorite one.
Oh right,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm pretty sure I recall the card you're talking about. Yeah,
I
this
will get
card's
there.
okay.
This card's
Yeah.
okay.
Probably doesn't hang, but
Yeah.
Until Devious comes back.
you know,
Right.
you gotta have so many
If.
blocks and attacks in a set anyway. So
Yeah.
it's not like abjectly unusable. It's
There are
just
a lot of blocks in this set. We're going to find out.
for sure.
Let's see another.
Black Duck is a card.
Quack.
Don't like it.
Yeah. This is another one. It's sort of, like I said, revolves around
it's
knowing the top card of your
weird.
deck, but
Perceptive.
2 life
attack,
cards.
The
but
cool
yeah.
thing about it is a black card that destroys cards from your own deck, which synergizes
Yeah.
with a bunch of other old
That's
cards.
true.
I like to see more things like it, although this effect as a whole is not that powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like the way it's going.
if it did something better
Right.
for
Right.
hitting on the card you milled, I would be more
or
interested
just
in
didn't even drop all the name stuff. Just destroy the top card, destroy the top 2 of your opponent's deck.
Yeah,
Like,
that
that would be really
yeah,
cool.
that's okay.
it. Agreed.
better at
That would be
least.
totally fine.
Yeah.
Like, it would play into a
In this
mill.
card without like another effect or endurance, like that card would be absolutely adequate.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
it
The
would be
mill
totally
archetype's been
acceptable.
kind of neglected lately, so it would have been
Oh,
nice
yeah, for
to see more
sure.
for it. But
Right.
I'm
again,
sad.
blocks with no endurance.
Because that's what this
Right,
card
right.
should do.
Yep.
We're about to see it. Blocks without endurance really have to justify their existence.
I mean,
at this
one or
point.
two do, but
Yeah.
moving
Not many.
on. Black Energy Beam.
See, I hadn't seen this one yet.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh yeah.
I hate it.
Yep.
Those 2 effects should be reversed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
for,
know.
For sure, or even like
or
just
it needs
symmetrical,
something else.
yeah,
Or it should be
something.
symmetrical,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't.
If
I don't
both
love it
the
either.
effects were hit effects.
You're getting a big negative and not
Right.
necessarily getting anything positive, and the attack itself is vanilla outside of that.
Reminds me
Yeah.
of Blue Energy Arrow from the old game.
I was thinking the same thing. I mean, that's probably not a coincidence. 'Cause
No,
it's a
it
similar
definitely looks a
picture.
lot like it.
Yeah, it is a really weird card because it's not even like. So cards like Black Defensive Burst, that's like a medium damage card with no drawback and a possible very positive hit effect.
Yeah.
Right.
This card is a medium damage card with an intense drawback
Yeah.
and an okay hit effect.
Right,
Like,
exactly.
Right.
like, I don't know, the math on that doesn't quite check out for
and
me.
we'll say this a lot. If it had endurance, had raise
Anger.
anger, anti-anger, some little hook for it,
Something
be a lot
else.
more palatable.
And well, I mean, unlike Red with Ruthless, there aren't many cards that activate
synergy.
something when they
Right.
get banished
Black-
from you.
Black
If this was
doesn't
a
have that.
red card,
I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
just think of
That's
all
a
the
good point,
Ruthless
yeah.
cards that you could be
If
like,
they-
oh, when banished from
Right,
your
if it
discard
could
pile,
actually
get it
synergize
out.
with some other stuff.
Right,
Like
exactly.
that part in a meaningful way. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's a good point.
Anyway,
Next. Black
There's
Flinch.
the
Here
one.
we go.
This card's way better than the other energy block.
This might be
Yeah.
Black's best energy block now.
Say,
So
yeah.
holy crap.
Yeah, this card's insanely good.
get it
Upward
with your
dodge
upward
like
thing,
with
yeah.
endurance.
But with endurance. yeah. Doesn't work on your discs and Kamehamehas.
Right, it's got to be styled.
Unless you're Gohan.
right.
But yeah, this card's insane and pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I think we're going to start seeing 2 or 3 of that in every black deck.
It is definitely a contender.
Good thing
I will-
Devious is gone.
I will say I'm glad they went the direction they did with blocks this set.
Yeah.
Blocks are not satisfying to use in a deck
Right.
and often do nothing. So to be able to justify them, they need to be pretty good. Putting endurance on them, I think, is
Yeah.
a non-starter almost. But having them have useful effects like this really goes a long way too.
I think just in general, the philosophy they took towards blocks in this deck is really good. It's not even a new philosophy. It's just really going back to the set 1 philosophy.
Sure.
So since then, we haven't seen many blocks that were good.
Could really
Yeah.
hang, yeah, effect wise.
So
yeah, I
we're
agree.
right back to basics here.
Which is fine.
Yeah, I think that's
I'm-
what they needed. 'cause
I'm into it.
Now we have real options over just running the set 1 blocks.
And not only making the blocks better, but there are 2 of each block for each style in the set. So it's almost like they were resetting the
Options.
blocks for everybody.
So you can freeze some of them later.
Honestly,
on.
I think
yeah.
a lot of them are reprinted.
I'm totally okay with that. Next. Black Halts. Nah.
Probably not good enough to be a usable black physical
Yeah.
block.
I mean,
It has a unique effect at
It
least.
kind of goes with those other name the thing.
That's true.
Sure, yeah, it does do that. Like
Going into your phase.
Black
Yeah.
commie ball.
Well, no,
and it
that's a
doesn't-
block, so no.
Well, this is
Right.
a block.
The
so-
other one's a block,
But there are a bunch of other black effects that you can use on your face.
I guess.
Yeah.
But
So
I
this
meant
has synergy with
specifically
those.
that one.
I would like it actually for Black Commie Ball.
Yeah.
Which, isn't a thing, but maybe it could
if
be
it,
someday.
right, if it were,
Because he's
or if it
technically
is,
leaving
set or
play
two.
at
Right,
that
you would
point,
leave him play
even-
and be able
yeah.
to get him right back,
Yeah.
in theory.
Theory.
Although you wouldn't be able to draw him again because
Right.
you'd
You'd have
have
to-
the ball by then.
You'd have to have some weird combo going. Early.
But he
That's
still
when
puts
you-
him off the
Puts him
table.
back.
and
That's when
puts him
you
in your
play
life deck.
overpowering
Right.
attack and get him right back out.
There you go.
Add it to the list
Thinking.
of questionable combos from cards that probably don't matter.
Third tier combos.
Yep.
That's right.
You know where to
Next.
get him.
Black Narrow Beam.
Pew pew.
Sells.
That card's okay.
Yeah, right, this is a very baseline card.
Right.
I'm not going to hate you if you run it.
Yeah.
They went out of their way to make it appealing at
Yeah.
least.
I mean, unlike that other one, like
Right.
Sure.
Much better.
yeah,
It's a medium damage attack that has a small beneficial
Bonus,
effect,
yeah.
and then
Chips at every angle.
a slightly better
Right.
one on hit as well. Yeah.
And endurance.
you could get rid of those.
Black doesn't have much
I say-
targeted
I
rejuve.
I think it's
so-
the
No, it
only
doesn't.
black card that has like unconditional targeted rejuve, because the next closest thing is probably that black event from set 2
Right,
that lets
the
you target
black
styled cards.
shield
Yeah.
or
Or,
barrier destruction
and
or
the
whatever.
energy block in set 2.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's kind of neat, like as a weird aside. Like,
Yeah.
it's cool that it does that.
Yeah.
But,
Mhm.
So
I
if there's a
doubt
specific combo you're trying to build around, it'll be there for that.
Yeah.
Black Schematics.
I really like this
Tiger.
card.
I like this card too, and it's a cool. In getting rid of Black Command, like I like this card as a pseudo replacement for
Yeah.
it.
Or addition.
Right.
Sure, yeah, you could totally run both in like pure anger builds.
Black's got a lot of anger density if you want it.
Yeah.
And the endurance really helps this card, and the effect on it. Although it will sometimes do nothing.
Right. You're going to get more whiffs on that than you like, but I think just raise your anger 2, 3 endurance is really great.
Yeah, and in a pure anger deck, like if that's truly the deck you're running,
Yeah.
like this is right. This is better than a hug maneuver. It's probably better than like a black.
It's
dash.
definitely better than a dash or a combo.
Like it's got more endurance.
not
It still
maybe
gives
not
you the
combo.
anger you need, and it gives you another cool
Yeah,
effect
combo's
that
wall breaker tech.
Yeah.
will be useful probably in more matchups than not.
Right. I think this card will see some play.
Yeah, that card is okay. I'm into it. I like. It does everything I need it to do in terms of like trying to make a viable events.
3 endurance is a good number.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm all about that.
Woo.
Black Heel. This card is so. The name of this card is so
Whoa.
plain. It's just like.
I can't
There's a-
believe how bad this card is. Like, it's boggling my mind right now.
I mean, the mastery guarantees gain
Perceptive,
stages
yeah.
if you want it to, or perceptive.
Yeah.
Sure.
Even it get rid of
But-
the qualifier, and it's still not
Right.
good.
Sure.
Physical for 3 life, your opponent.
Right, yeah,
Right,
exactly.
it's-
If that were a
nah.
secondary effect with no
It would
other
be-
stipulation, it would be a really
Nah.
bad card.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a little. Let's just move on.
Mind-boggling. This card's cool.
This
Blue
card's
Rebuke.
really cool.
King Kai's fucking going off.
Yep. King Kai is secretly a shark.
Yep, that's a good
Bug
Goku's
shark.
astonished by it.
Goku's secretly a monkey.
So is Bubbles, but not as
Blue's
secretly.
second or third. Are there 2 or 3 attached
There's at
cards
least
in this
2.
set for blue? Because the other one's
There's
that physical
2,
that we'll
I
get to.
think.
Smug punch. Yeah.
Yeah, Smug Punch. I don't know if there's another besides that.
But yeah,
This
Blue's
one's really
finally got
interesting.
natural attached cards,
Yeah.
which is neat, and they're both okay. Like this card's all right.
So if you
Yeah.
already had an attached card and you unleash into this, you could get rid of your other attached card to trigger this.
Yep.
Or
Which
it
is
can
pretty
just
cool.
naturally go off.
Right, or you can
Yeah.
just sit it on there because most games your opponent will change levels at some point.
And say, yeah, the one thing I am sure of is that with maybe the exception of like a handful of Vegeta builds, like pretty much every deck that people are going to be running in set 7 is going to level,
Which is a
like
good
that's going to
thing.
be part of how it works.
Yeah. I'm
So
excited for this, for that part of the meta.
yeah, this card is a-okay. I'm into it. I would bet it will see some play in obviously unleashed builds mostly. Although it would be really weird to
It's
see
not
someone run
bad
around
to
it.
just drop it because,
Right, yeah.
like you said, people are gonna change levels.
Sure.
Yep.
You can always cycle it away with new blue.
Yeah.
So that's
Yep.
not.
That's a pretty
is-
powerful effect when it
It does
triggers.
lose some steam by being an attached setup, which is the easiest
Oh,
thing in the world
yeah.
to deal with. But
Right, yeah.
I also think the jury's kind of out though on just how people are feeling about board control.
yeah,
Like,
I think
wonder
we're
how
definitely
much
gonna
people
see
will
what
run.
happens with that.
So we'll find out
Uh-huh.
to be determined.
True.
Blue introduction.
That's such a weird parenthetical.
Yeah, I don't hate it, but
That is
I-
very...
the
I don't think I
effect's
ever
not
actually
strong
read
enough.
that.
it's a weird card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too situational.
Right, the fact that you can't get back the ally you hit with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like for one of those weird 17 archetypes where he's trying to
Right.
always have one ally in play and make them leave and come back into play, except that's not a good deck.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I'm not sure this card does anything else for almost any other deck. So
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't love it. Next. Speaking
This
of
card's
blocks
insane.
with
Uh-huh.
blocks with powerful secondary effects.
makes up for no endurance. That's
Right.
for damn sure.
Yeah,
This
and in
is-
fact, I
this
think
is
I had
nuts.
said that like when this image came up in like
Yeah, you
in like
yeah,
chat or whatever. Like,
Dustin-
I'm pretty glad that this card doesn't have
Exactly,
endurance
yeah,
because
I
it totally doesn't need it.
I
Right.
remember you saying.
Or any other effect.
Yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
that is a fucking
It's a nice big meaty 2-for-1.
yeah. That is a card that completely justifies its existence by itself.
Put blue key buildup into
Right.
play.
Yeah.
Or blue blockade, or you know,
Or dominance.
Let,
or-
right, let your imagination run wild because
And
this card
especially
can do
since
it.
it's a block, like that's leading into your next action.
Right, and you can just instant swing
Yeah.
trigger.
Blue battle readiness.
Yep.
Sure.
Stop an energy, put 2 allies into play. How about that?
Like we were just talking about, we weren't sure like
Oops,
what
all
the
friends.
public perception on board control is going to be. We need more cards like this to make that discussion viable.
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah. No
yeah.
kidding.
Setup and control have taken some hits lately.
Right. And blue resolute's in one of the best places to actually be able to
Right.
put a field of cards into play.
Oh, yeah.
Since the mastery gives you a bunch of buffers for it. So I love this card. I'm glad this exists.
I'm not familiar with Blue's other energy block this set, but this definitely is right up there in the second spot for Blue's energy
Yeah, it's
blocks
real
with
good.
Narrow Escape.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
For sure.
it didn't have a
The
great
thing is,
second energy block after that.
Blue guard is a staple.
Yeah,
now.
that's true. That's the
so
one.
you
I
got
forgot.
narrow and guard in this.
Okay.
And this won't go in every blue deck.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
those two will, but you might be. But the thing is, blue guard is often not really a
Right,
block.
you don't really.
It's
play it
almost
as a
like an
block.
event
You,
that
you
draws
can
cards.
definitely fill that
Yeah.
deck out with 8-9 energy blocks.
Mhm.
For sure.
Which
I
is
like it.
cool when you actually need the energy block.
It's real good.
Anyway, yeah, that card's awesome.
Blue deterrence.
I like this card a lot.
Yeah, I like
So
this
do
card
I.
too, and it's very it's like
simple.
very vanilla, but like I'm totally okay with it.
Uh-huh.
I've kind of wanted just like a generic like anger buffing card, like an anger tamping card.
Well, like we had when we
On the defensive in blue for a little bit, and it's
Yeah.
especially cool that blue got it now since they lost protective mastery.
That's what I
Yeah,
was just gonna
so-
say, like what we were just talking
Yeah.
about before, how it's like blue players need to remember to actually put anger tech
Right.
in their
Right.
decks now.
I see a lot of people that are like, I can beat Rampaging Gohan. I have head knocks and neck beams. Like, that's not going to win you the matchup unless you run cards like this.
Yeah.
As it was pointed out on Retro, this is the first example of a card that is just
Straight
objectively
upgrade.
better than the card it's replacing. Because there was a physical block in set 1. that
Oh,
was the
right.
Oh,
same
yeah, I
thing,
saw that.
Except it only lowered your opponent's anger 1.
Did it have 2 endurance too?
And it had 2
Okay.
endurance. So
That
although
card
you
card was pretty playable set 1.
Yeah.
that card has seen play this year.
You could play
So-
both.
Yeah, I
of
would.
them
Yeah, I
now.
would
Now you can
call
play
that
both
card
of them.
unplayable.
I
but
would
this
call
is
it
just a bit
unplayable either,
better.
but yeah, this
Yeah.
is 2 anger is a big swing,
Yeah,
especially
it's
compared
a
to
whole
1.
different ball game. Like
Right,
it
yeah.
easily
Huge
puts
game
you
changer.
into range to lower them to 0 anger in your next action, or like it's just a demonstrable amount of
Yeah.
pressure. It's anti-anger pressure,
Right,
Like as
yeah.
opposed to just kind of an
Chipping.
anti-anger irritant.
You actually net probably a whole card back instead of just...
Right.
Yeah.
1 anger isn't keeping up with anger decks at this point.
Nope.
I like it. It's
Yeah,
good.
super cool.
Blue Feast. I don't really
Don't
like
love it.
this card.
No.
Yeah.
If it was destroyed or banished, it would
Sure.
be totally different because Blue's got ways to trigger their own, banishings.
Yeah.
But this is not something you'll be able to do
Right.
consistently.
Because all those blue training combos revolve around.
Yeah, or even
Banishing.
even if the trigger part, like the part where you could use it was just destroyed, but then it could target like the banish zone, so you can
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
hot
too.
swap for a different thing that you was normally out of reach. Like
Yeah.
that would have made this card more interesting. As is, I super don't love it.
And this is the type of card that I think needs endurance because it's a card that's sometimes going to do nothing.
Right.
And you can't
Yeah.
afford to have cards in your deck that both do nothing as damage and do nothing in hand.
Amusingly enough, I mean, it does work on allies, but effects that destroy setups or drills are very scarce.
I mean,
they're-
yeah,
they're
that's
not that
definitely
common.
true.
Yeah.
So you're mostly going to be relying on triggering it yourself. If it worked when it was destroyed or banished, there's definitely more you could do with
Also,
it.
you can't use this when one of your allies is discarded from a crit effect because that's
Right,
discard
that's
and not
different.
destroy.
As we've learned.
I think the most interesting thing about the card is it can grab colorless stuff.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah,
But-
completely agnostic in terms of what
Right,
you
which
can tutor for.
it just doesn't feel like there are many effects that are designed that way. But yeah, I don't like the card that much.
Yeah. Next, Blue Patience.
Oh yeah,
This is
card's
another
okay.
great card.
Does what it does. So it'll set up your Resolute
Yeah.
Mastery draw, and it has 2 endurance.
Right.
Or even like say you've already triggered the mastery, or maybe you're running tag. You can also still stack your endurance order possibly
Sure.
on whatever your next cards are. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a doubly defensive block.
Or if you're something like Tag Gohan and you have TN in play, you can stack a draw
Yeah.
for that too.
Sure,
Or you use a blue blanketing blast or a narrow escape or whatever. and you can-
if you're
Wow.
at or near the end of a combat, you might suck a useful board card that was just barely
fourth
out of
down.
reach. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
That card's good. I like it.
But it'll definitely be mostly used just to set up your draw with the Resolute Master,
For
which is
sure.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the things that is kind of the difference between cards that are just okay and cards that are really robust is how consistently can you trigger the good thing that it does, and you
This
have to do
one-
nothing other than
Play
Right.
the card.
have
Yeah,
your mastery,
it'll do it.
have decided to run the mastery using and play this card to,
Right.
With 2
Exactly.
anger or 2 endurance.
to set up the
Yeah,
good thing
yeah.
that it does. So.
It's a really easy sell.
Yeah. Especially if you're a personality who's not going to get a lot of use out of Blue Crouch or something like it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So if you're Goku or somebody, you might want to use
Right.
this
There's a lot of personalities that aren't that weak anymore.
Yeah.
I like it. Blue Retaliation. Oh, this was that.
Yeah, we talked
that
about
other
it. So
card.
it
Wow,
costs
I hadn't
4
seen this
stages,
one.
Neither had I.
And it's the second or third card in this set, I think, that gives you stages when it's pitched.
Shoot.
Yeah. This card's super weird. I don't know how I feel about it. It's obviously really vanilla. I think without the parenthetical, I would absolutely hate it. But the parenthetical allows you to be in a situation where you can either grab the stages for other energies or
For sure.
drain whatever stages you've got to throw an energy for 8+ in Resolute.
Right.
You're right.
It might-
7 is a huge number, and just
Yeah.
like there was the Namekian card that's very similar. It's just a big energy attack with 4 endurance. That's
This might
tempting.
be the only blue card that has exactly 4 endurance. I can't think of another one.
I think you're right.
As far as I know.
So again, that might just be a funny little thing.
It's
but-
cool in tag, too, to help you get to 0.
Yeah,
I could
for
see
sure.
like Tag Gohan running this.
Sure. Or even just a deck that doesn't have many energy attacks, but can just kind of throw that in.
Mm-hmm.
Although if in that kind of scenario, I don't really like it. I like Neck Beam in that slot instead.
Definitely true. I mean, it definitely has to compete with Neck Beam for that kind of slot.
Yeah, it's okay
I mean, I'm never mad about cards having 4 endurance. So.
for sure.
It's hard to
Next.
get mad about.
Blue Reckless
Hasn't seen this
Charge.
one yet either.
Yay.
I don't love it.
I don't hate it.
It's
damage
also
is a little
vanilla,
low.
but like
Yeah.
even more so.
Also
I
more
would-
stage gain.
Right. For like a
Maybe.
defensive type anger
Maybe,
deck,
yeah.
it does something pretty useful between guaranteeing the anger, having endurance, and possibly gaining
And then
stages.
theoretically, like you could also be an anger deck, and
Right.
like just this is for me now.
One anger is kind of a tough spot for
Yeah,
any
yeah.
sort of anger deck now, but
Right.
you'd have to
yeah.
consider this.
Yeah.
If it was 2 anger, like there was a
Yeah.
card in the last set, I think
Sure.
that did that.
Yeah.
And even
That'd
though
be a lot easier.
even though they've put out cards that support it, I kind of suspect that Blue Anger's not a deck.
Probably
I agree.
not.
Yeah.
Like it could be, but I don't think that's a deck that's going to gain traction.
No.
Again, just compared to like
especially not like MPPV. Like
Yeah.
it's Unleashed now.
just compared
just
to
that.
to the anger options you have
Just
with
do
other
that.
styles.
They
Like,
gave you attached cards. It's fine.
I'm not feeling it.
And you could be blue with like all of the energies that give you 2 anger, but then you should probably just be a different style anyway.
Yeah.
Have a
Agreed.
mastery that helps you more.
Not great.
Not great.
Next, Blue Strike.
This card's super cool.
Yeah, I like this a lot.
Yeah.
It, plink,
There
it
are only
plinks for
uses
just
for
enough
this.
damage. Like it'll do 3 with new mastery, which is like enough to be harassing.
I love the image.
This
I don't
guy's
know
on
this guy's
so many
name, but the
cards.
old man fighter ended up on a lot of cards in this game.
Sure did.
And it's all from like the same
Right,
scene,
the
aside from
general
like
Tau
Namekian
episode.
It's because
Hunt.
he's wearing blue
Fair enough.
and the
Fair
background
enough.
is sort
He's
of
fighting
blue.
in a forest.
Yeah.
I'm
I
gonna
feel ya.
punch that hick.
Get
So
him.
this gives you fuel for your mastery and a card to hold on to going into your turn.
Hmm.
Or if you're like Raditz with an offensive card, you can drop things into play. There are cool things this card can do.
Yeah.
I mean, it can even be a 2-up in like if you're running, say, Blue Gohan. With
you get to
dominances or something like
Yeah.
that's straight up a card to tutor with
Right.
and a card to pitch for the mastery.
Right,
So
exactly.
that's a totally okay bargain.
Even if you don't have that option, just like you said, pitch 1 of the mastery, save 1 for the next turn, and
Yeah.
that's
sure.
basically canned
That's a 2 for
advantage.
1. Yep.
yeah, this card is totally okay.
Yep.
It will see some play.
Yeah, especially in combo decks.
Next, Blue
There's
Sweet.
another one.
Sweet,
Say
sweet,
yeah, another
Yeah.
card that discards for stages.
This one I think is gonna fall off.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
got too much competition as an energy block.
sweet. And no endurance. And
Right.
just kind of okay.
The effect not super
Yay.
great, right?
The next time endurance stages time.
If for some reason you absolutely needed a ton of stage gain, it does that.
Yeah.
But
I
it's
mean,
not
good
gonna
for
do much else.
you.
I don't. It wouldn't be like transformative, but I would like it slightly better if it were a physical block, because then it would be more of an all-in-one
Right.
solution
Oh,
for
yeah,
stage pressure
yeah, yeah.
period.
If you need stages, you probably shouldn't be waiting for an energy attack.
Right, exactly,
It's the same problem I have with orange energy absorption.
because that's
Yeah.
like
Oh.
that's close to 2 whole attacks worth of damage if it were a physical attack and you like played it and then mastered immediately.
Right, that's a
like,
big swing.
but as is, yeah, it just doesn't quite sync up with
Yeah.
what the flow of most turns would be. I feel like so. Okay, not great.
Meh.
Meh.
Blue
This
arrest.
card's super cool,
The card
Yeah,
is super
arrested.
cool.
especially in tag.
Especially with blue waiting drill or whatever it is.
Yeah, the drill that's when you
When you're
rejuvenate.
rejuvenate a drill
Mill-
or an ally
Mill.
that
Mill
they built
6.
to. Yeah.
if you can rejuve all 3 allies with this card.
Yep.
You I think rejuvenate 1 or 2 when you play an ally also.
And if you had a skid, you can then play it, which then mills or rejuvenates when you play an ally. I think.
I don't remember, but
Also, 3
yeah.
endurance.
it's a funny
Right,
effect.
This card
yeah.
does an okay amount of damage, has a ton of endurance. The rejuvenate 3 allies is awesome,
And
then
on
the
hit, you
effect
get one.
Is,
Yeah.
yeah.
We were talking about
Neato.
blue waiting drill. It's like, yeah, blue really doesn't have many ways to target rejuvenated allies, and then this card comes along and does
late.
exactly that.
Yep.
Whoops.
Sell, you're under arrest.
Which is a card I really
Get
like, so I hope
arrested.
it's seen
Get
plays.
Get
for sure.
arrested.
Yeah. If people manage to build like broad-ish ally decks, like I could definitely see it seeing play. I'm a little more concerned that just decks that would run enough allies to rejuvenate 3 consistently are maybe
Right.
off the table at least early on.
Right,
but
I
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
also share that concern.
we shall see. It's an interesting card. Like I like that it exists.
And again, 3 endurance.
yeah,
Yep.
can't go wrong.
Gets chunky.
The Mechian cover.
This card's cool.
Yeah, this card. It's okay.
It's okay.
It's one of the only Namekian cards that just gives raw anger.
Yeah.
Like one of maybe 3 or 4.
There's not many.
Yeah.
Old Piccolo level 1, it'll give you more
Bunch of
than
anger.
1 anger.
unless there are no Dragon
You gotta have a Dragon Ball
Earth,
play.
Earth Dragon Balls
Earth-
out. So you have to be new master.
But I mean, if you're running Earth Balls, you're probably running the new Mastery.
Yeah,
And if
maybe.
you,
Maybe. There's use cases to do otherwise, but
I hate,
Namekian's got a lot of cards that interact just with Earth Dragon Balls.
Now.
my
Boy.
gut is that I hate every human who would run Restored with Earth Balls.
I,
That's just the way I,
would have-
feel.
Restored, I would probably agree with you.
I would
That's
have
what
to actually try it.
Sure.
Like I said,
And
there's
that's
like
what
3 or 4 really good cards that only work with Earth Dragon.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
and that's what I mean by like I haven't tested it,
I
so I
think-
can't say for sure.
I think we'll see some other decks that just splash 1 or 2 Earth Dragon Balls just because it fits their deck better than the Namex would. But
But
Restored's
honestly,
not going to be one of them. I
yeah,
hope.
honestly, this card I would say isn't unplayable.
No.
Like even without the Earth Balls, like it's got enough endurance and it gives anger, which is Namekian cards don't have. It's totally okay. Namekian Discharge.
Namekian
If
gets
you
a
are
really
Earth
big
Dragon Ball-
anti-anger card every set.
Yep. If you
None of them
Earth
are
Dragon
quite
Balls-
as good as Maximum.
No, that's a hard bar to clear.
This one's pretty good in
This one's
Radiant.
okay.
It's
Right.
almost always going to lower their anger 2 or 3 or more in Radiant.
I love the
And
1 cost on it.
Mid to late game, it's probably always going to lower them to 0.
I really
easily.
wish this card was in like the last one. Like I wish it was in play and not that you control.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's the part that bums me out about it. I would be
Yeah.
way more positive on
You're,
it.
you're definitely right. That'll
if
be
it-
a little
if it had
damper on
the
it.
symmetry of just balls being on the table that most
I agree.
a lot of the other Namekian cards in the set have. But again, it's not unplayable. It's
Yeah.
just it's all right. Next, Namekian Eviction. That's a good name for a card.
I don't think this card does enough.
So many crotch shots for Cell in this set.
The damage on it's not enough to really justify it, and it
Yeah.
has no other effect, no hit effect,
Yeah, I
no
don't.
immediate effect.
Right,
no
I don't love
endurance.
any card that's just
and it's
straight up
you
damage.
control
Right.
again.
I do like the idea of just Radiant stacking numbers with attacks. So with 4 life card or 4 Dragon Balls you control, this does
10.
10, 11, assuming one of them is Dragon Ball 1.
It's a
That's a lot of damage, right?
But I mean, it's 10
That's
that
a true power's worth of damage.
Yeah, but you don't have to banish your discard pile.
the stars have
it's
to
10
align.
that in a
I
vacuum,
don't like
just
it.
like with it
Yeah.
by itself, it's 10 that is preventable and that can be stopped by any blocking
And
effect.
turn 1, it's a physical for 4 life.
Right.
Yay!
Yeah,
You
I
would
don't.
use your mastery first. It would do 5,
Physical
6
for 5
life.
life.
6 life. You take ball 1.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
Next. Namekian
Damn,
Head
go
Kick.
on.
That's a good image. Yeah.
I've never seen this card either. Well, I don't like it based on the immediate effect being something you can't control.
Yeah.
You can sort of
I mean, I
control
was
it.
saying with Earth Balls and the other
Yeah, I
Namekian
guess
cards
there
that
are
exist,
ways to
you kind
control
of
it.
can,
Yeah.
but I still like. I feel like there are a couple more that we're about to get to, but I feel like a deck made up of those cards is bad inherently.
Probably.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like that stack, like that's gonna take up a good quarter at least minimum of your 60 card deck, and they're mostly terrible.
Yeah.
The effect on it, or the attack part on it, is just pretty lackluster to me.
Yeah.
So I think that's really what holds it back.
Yeah,
more
no
so than
Unless
the
kidding.
it's
other
super
part.
late game and you're against someone with Namekian Dragon Balls, then
Whoa. Yeah, you just not specify
That's
a
right.
set.
Good point.
and it's in play,
Uh-huh.
but who
I don't-
cares?
Eat
I don't
my
like it.
attack for 20 stages.
Nom nom nom.
Next, Namekian left block.
Yeah, there's one
So
of
there,
these.
you say there
that
you go.
card's cool. I like it.
There's a card
It
that,
fits
yeah,
right into the archetype.
and I don't like it. Again, I don't like it as like a whole deck where it's multiple cards that do that. But I wouldn't hate running 1 or 2 of these,
Yeah.
just as like a buffer to.
And even this card's even usable if you're like a pure Dragon Ball deck. Just to
Right.
put a ball, just get a ball out of your deck basically, and say, okay, hey, now next time I draw a Namekian
Then you
Double Strike
Optic
or whatever,
Blast.
or
For
Optic
sure.
Blast.
Yeah,
or-
and in
Annoying.
fact, this card is ball neutral, so you can drop Namek
Yeah.
balls with it. So it's just like, all right, I'll just tutor ball 7 that you won't get
and
to
now it's
use.
yours.
But yeah,
Right.
exactly. That you won't get to use the effect of, but I probably eventually will.
Yeah.
Like depending on the point of the game you use it in. So
I do
Yeah,
like that
I
aspect
like
of
it.
all these play your Dragon Balls to your opponent. Is that it sets them up so that he can't use them, but you can.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big with a ball too.
yeah, no kidding. Yeah, this card's all right.
I like it.
Mechian training
This
ball.
card's super cool.
I do really love this card. 'Cause
Uh,
like we were talking
pretty
about
meaty.
radiant numbers.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
This is
sure.
when the numbers come in.
If you're gonna have an attack that does nothing but damage, make it unpreventable.
Right.
Which this card is.
So now we're looking
Yeah,
at the,
agreed. I like that is a specific part of if cards just put up a number and then possibly a bigger number, it should either do something else or be unpreventable damage.
This is almost a win condition for that deck because you're assuming ball 1 is in play. You have the radiant buffer, 9 life unpreventable.
Youch.
Youch.
It could very well be a killing blow. I mean,
Yeah.
especially late game, obviously.
And
Yeah.
it's
you
not
would think
banish
plenty
after
of balls
use,
would be
It only
Yeah.
costs 1.
which is something you don't really think about, but watching like Brian run his restore deck and spending some time with it, a lot of the good attacks are banish after use.
Yeah.
Right.
But not this one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this card.
That card's okay.
Ouch.
Cell just blasts people in the
get
face and gets
walloped.
Dragon Balls on the field.
If the hit effect were better, I would really like this card. I don't hate it anyway.
Yeah.
It's the same thing we were talking about earlier.
Yeah,
Only this one is restricted to Earth Dragon Ball.
for the Radiant deck, basically, which is what these are all building towards. I want to kind of look at that deck list and see how many cards like this you have to end up running with, no
Sure.
real tech, no endurance,
Yeah.
not going to push damage.
That's what I'm saying. And again, you'd have to do the due diligence to really know that for certain.
Yeah.
But
These cards also don't do a lot if you're not capturing them,
Right.
Yeah. For sure.
and a lot of Namekian's captures aren't great to begin with.
sure. So in fact, exactly. Like that kind of deck might be
Right.
relegated to like a Piccolo deck that tries to camp at level 2.
Yeah.
Or
Right,
if
yeah.
you're a
So-
Radiant Namekian Garlic.
Whoa.
The strength of that deck is going to be, is it 2 Dragon Balls or 3? I think it's 2.
It's 3 for the buff.
Okay.
3 or
Yeah,
more.
So the
Three
strength
for
of that deck is how consistently you can get those 3 Dragon Balls out without running much junk.
Yeah.
Sure.
For sure.
And at the very least, it's 3 combats, right?
Right.
Be a
Assuming
villain,
people
run
aren't
sagacious.
sucking them out of play.
Right,
The other
yeah.
bummer about Earth Balls is that they kind of do that to themselves.
Yeah.
We'll
Not
get
if
there.
you're putting them into play under your opponent's control.
I say, I guess that's true. Fair enough. Yeah, that's all right.
It's
I don't know.
okay. It's
Like
got
you
a
said,
hit
I
effect.
really
It-
don't
it
like the
might
hit
be
effect.
interesting,
Hit effect's
but-
nothing.
Yeah, the hit effect does
Yeah.
almost nothing.
Like it is a cool effect in a terrible cell deck.
Yep.
that's what that
Yeah.
card.
Although there's a new attached card for that cell deck. We'll talk about it.
Here's a much better physical block.
This card's awesome.
Yeah, how
Holy
cool!
crap.
How cool! And in fact, it's it's the mirror image to that energy block that
Yeah.
rejuvenates itself from set 6. Like I think that came out last set.
It tickles me.
Except it
in-
has 3 endurance.
It tickles
Except
me
it
in
has
just the
endurance.
right place when a card has more than 1 endurance and shuffles into your deck after use.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no kidding.
right, exactly. Almost no matter what it does.
Oh man.
Tug of war.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
tasty.
It's real good.
Yep, I love it.
It definitely competes.
Yeah.
for
And I
physical
always
block
have
slots
a
and that can-
loving appreciation for effective cards that are very card or text low.
Yeah.
And I think this card needed to be this good because Namekian's physical blocks are all very
You're right.
good
They're already
Yeah.
really good.
It's competing with like flinch and knee block and the one that gives you 5 stages and
Right.
tails.
Yeah.
So
Flinch is kind of a deck specific card at this point, but
sure, but in the decks it goes in.
and even knee block doing so. I can see this competing with knee block for the second physical block for a lot of decks.
Yeah, I like it. It's good.
Woo.
Namekian
This card
Buffer.
also
I hadn't seen this one. Holy
Yeah.
crap!
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Thank God it's banished after
Wow.
use.
Right.
Yeah.
I can't imagine a world where it's not.
Yeah.
We're not being subtle about the power of blocks in this set. I love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like this card a bunch. And again, same thing. Although
They
You can be a
needed
little-
an energy
Yeah.
block.
Namekian's
Yeah.
second energy block slot was real bad.
you can be a little choosy with energy blocks, especially because for as much as I love Namekian builds that run cross guard, you can absolutely build decks without it, and this
Right.
card perfectly
Right.
fits
And
into that
so many
slot.
Namekian decks needed crossguard because of the endurance, and now
Yeah.
this has even more endurance
Yeah.
if you wanted to forego that.
Namekian as a whole got a nice
A lot of endurance.
boost of endurance in this set, which it didn't have really. Namekian's
Yeah.
endurance options were real bad.
Also, I want to point out this heals 6 if you're Lord Slug level 3.
Nice.
That's my
Okay.
favorite thing about
For all
it.
you up and coming slugs out there.
Sure. Oh, it's only the first one, or is it all
It's
of
the
them?
first one
The first
that
time
combat.
you use one that combat.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, technically it would have to be sequenced. But,
Yes.
I mean, he'll also, hybrid defense would heal 6, or
Yeah.
Right.
he'd have a ton of
Real
options.
good.
Funny.
Super cool.
I like it.
Oh,
It's a
slug.
sluggy deck.
This card's ridiculous.
Orange encouragement.
It's great for Ret. It is like the perfect Ret card, especially in Roshi. But even outside of Roshi, it does what it does.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. It's neat.
So if you level from Roshi 1 to 2 and then use this, you're getting 2 anger out of this and a drill, or 2 drills, depending.
I
That can
love,
also give you anger.
I love cards that put in play 2 cards.
Right, and it gives you anger.
Right, and that's a
So,
bonus.
Mid to late game, this card is really ridiculous. It can help you stabilize at higher levels if you want to.
Yeah, and again, like Phil had said about some of the other cards, this card's conditional is fully under your control.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not a
It's
thing
important.
that you have to have your opponent stumble into or
Yeah.
or have them set up. Like it's just
And the new Orange Red Mastery is kind of just pushing people in that
So
direction
perfect.
anyway.
Yeah.
Right. There's some nice synergy there.
Lots.
yep, I really like it. And again, we always talk about cards that don't have endurance that we wish they did. This is another scenario where this card is good enough that I'm kind of glad it
I
doesn't
could
have
have
endurance.
lived with one endurance.
It doesn't need endurance to be playable.
So it's
I don't
getting,
feel
like,
bad about running
We say
it.
a lot. It's harder and harder to run setups and drills these days. So if you want to give more advantages to them, I'm okay with it. But like just the other thing I said, it puts in play 2 cards. That alone pretty much makes
Yeah.
it worth it.
Right.
Real good.
Woohoo.
I encourage you to use it.
This card
Ah.
also
Orange
really
card
Drill.
also really strong.
Yeah, I like this card a lot.
does so many
Man.
things.
It makes me really happy.
Especially in ret. So it turns your mastery into, like, you can grab a drill.
An active tutor.
Instead of grabbing a burning aura or a steady in a combat where you've already
Get
taken
this.
a hit, you can grab this to take a block. And then the other things it does are useful
Because
too.
it's both a constant and has a power. Sneaky, sneaky.
Could you tutor the block drills with this card if you
Yeah.
wanted to? Say, yeah.
Yeah,
You
But
can
it
whip them
would-
you put it in your hand.
Yeah,
but-
be in
Right,
your
but I mean, if
hand.
like maybe you want to set up a possession drill that will hit or whatever.
Or if you're going into your turn,
Right.
Yeah, just to get it to play
instead
it.
of grabbing burning aura and putting it in play with
You
your
put
ret
it in your
mastery,
hand,
you
take
could
this.
grab this and use this to grab burning aura drill,
And you
and then
get
you
that
get
nice
some extra
rejuvenation.
rejuve.
Now you're
That,
thinking.
that 2 rejuvenate a turn is no slouch. That's standard
yeah.
20 level 2 type
Almost.
business.
I really like orange this set.
I do
Just, like,
too.
So
the-
good,
The stuff
yeah.
that it can do is so neat.
It might not be my like number 1 favorite style, like if I were gonna rank them, but it's my favorite to play or at least conceptualize.
Yeah.
If you're 20 level 2, you heal 5.
Yeah,
at the
you're
end
right.
of
If you
every combat.
if you are under 20 level 2,
a free disc's worth of rejuve.
That's right.
I may be misattributing the love right now, but maybe shout out to Joey DiCarlo for designing these orange cards.
That's right. Yeah.
Maybe not.
I wouldn't doubt
I
you.
don't think I know that for certain.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on it.
Sure. This makes up for sets 2 through 5.
Phil, do you remember? Not that it would be used for this purpose, but do you remember the timing on when Power Mimic fizzles? Like, could you Power Mimic?
End of the turn.
End of turn.
Okay,
I
so you
think.
could technically multiple rejuve with this card if
Yes.
for some reason you needed to.
You could definitely, because even if it is end of combat, they'd be simultaneous effects.
There is
yeah.
no way to trigger the parenthetical with Power Mimic. on
Yeah,
it,
that doesn't
But
quite
you would
ma-
just you
quite
would use it
work
to
out.
rejuvenate too.
Yeah.
Because it's already in play. It's
Yeah.
just transforming.
Cool.
Neato burrito.
It's really cool. I like that card a lot.
I
Next.
don't like this
Orange
card a lot.
Spine
I don't
Drill.
hate this card.
I kind of hate this card.
Yeah, I actually don't. I'm totally neutral on it. I guess
That's about how I feel.
It's right. It's very
It's
filler.
got a couple of really
It
cute
does have
uses.
endurance.
Yeah.
So if you're Goku 4, old Goku 4, you can put this into play, look at their hand, put it into your hand, discard it to Possession Drill, and then next turn replay it with Goku 4. Or
Right.
this turn if you hadn't done it yet.
There's a lot of cool combos if you're Goku level 4.
Yeah.
It's easy to get to Goku 4 now. So this basically is going to allow you to get a free Possession Drill and a free look at your opponent's hand every turn for Goku 4.
I wonder
now.
if anyone has any success this set with basically torching, crashing drill Goku.
I don't think
I would
that's
guess
the direction
not.
you need to go with it. I think you got to go other directions with it.
I don't know if the other directions really offer anything over just using the old or the new Goku 4.
Probably
They
not.
offer tank barrages and orange
Yeah.
destructions, which I'm not necessarily sure is viable, but it's a totally different
I would
deck.
lean no.
Yeah, this card's okay, and like Phil said, I like it for. I bet there are certainly. I'm certain there's one or two other uses I can't think of right off the top
Yeah.
of my head, but I like it for buffing just like a card that you can do something else with. Again, like with Possession Drill or with like a Gohan level 2 power or whatever. Like it's kind of neat for that respect. So it's okay. At least it does something different.
Yeah,
sure,
it's
Yeah.
unique.
it's unique.
I'm okay with it.
This
Orange
card
Dismissal.
owns.
Yeah, this card's really cool, and I hadn't seen this card either. I don't think until when the whole
Brian-
list went up or whatever.
Yeah,
but
Brian linked it today.
yeah, it's
But-
really cool.
I like the card named Dismissal.
It's like Black Dismissal.
Dismissed.
It has stiff competition in terms of
My
Orange's
favorite
other energy
dismissals.
blocks, but there are specific builds where this card can get a ton of
Yeah.
mileage. Both in terms of just like hot swapping a drill for a different one, or in fact looping a drill that you've already used that has an activated
Yep.
ability.
Right, exactly.
Because unlike
Right, you could search for the same drill you play. You
yeah,
shuffle
unlike
up.
allies, drills do not have memories. So if you have a drill that has an activated power, every time it leaves and re-enters play, you can reuse that effect.
Yep.
So this card again with like a steady drill or whatever, that's 3 energy blocks in one combat.
Yeah,
That's
out of
pretty
one,
okay.
One card out of hand.
Yeah.
This one's a nice way to get an extra boost out of Power Mimic too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's what.
'cause
Yeah,
you-
that's what
yeah,
I
Dustin
had mentioned the
mentioned
other
that
day
earlier,
is
too.
that you can power mimic something, and then hot
use
swap
this
out
to
the
put
power
that out.
mimic for a
Right.
real drill.
At the end of the turn, go and banish it from your deck.
Right. Get a free shuffle out.
Forcing a
Yeah.
shuffle to
This
gain
game's
anger
re-
at
game's
Rochelle
real-
too.
I think they ruled that doesn't work.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
think so too.
That's
Oh,
fine. Not
Right.
important.
That's
Uh,
funny.
But this card itself would
Yes.
trigger 2 anger on Roshi level 2 because
Right
it shuffles
on,
into
yeah.
your deck
And then
then
you
it shuffles
search,
again.
yeah.
That's pretty okay.
Yep.
That's
Damn. It's a good card.
Yeah.
funny.
Orange guard.
Don't like it.
Eh.
I don't think drill lines are
Right.
going to be thick enough.
That's
to
what I
get
was
one
gonna
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, I totally
Like
agree.
it might prevent 2 damage later in
Sure.
combat.
Which, like, yeah, exactly. Express it in those terms.
Yeah.
Even if it prevented 4 damage, it does nothing else.
right, yeah.
It's not. There isn't enough support to run the big drill deck anymore to make this card
Oh,
viable.
no.
And it's a block that's conditional on taking more damage.
It has no endurance.
And it has no
Has no
endurance
endurance.
and no other effect. So I don't like it.
Get it out.
Agreed.
There's some
Make it
good
leave.
orange physical blocks.
Right,
elsewhere.
there's-
That aren't this one.
Yep.
Yeah. Next.
Better options.
Orange paired blast. Cell looks real mad.
Don't like it.
Yeah.
The damage
Yeah,
on
I
it's
don't
too low.
either.
Without
It's-
adaptive.
Right. It's
and with-
really tough to put this in crit range.
Right, exactly.
If it did 5,
If
Sure.
very different card.
Right.
Yeah.
I
If
still don't think I'd love it, but
Right.
it would be
if drill were in a spot where there'd be more of them, and it's not totally out of it. We'll see what happens with orange this set, but
Yeah.
because it does act as a supplement to orange stare down, it can banish any drill, including your opponents.
Right, you can manage
Yeah.
an opponent's drill, which is pretty cool.
yeah.
But-
And like you said,
And you
that's
don't ha-
just meta
but-
contingent. Like
Yeah,
But
exactly.
the drawback on that is it is a mandatory effect. So you could accidentally banish your own things you don't want to
Yeah.
do.
Right, and there aren't very many orange drills that have meaningful effects when they leave play.
Right. There's a couple, but
oh, cat
So long.
noises.
No.
No
Fill
bells.
noises.
Oh, fill noises.
Phil
It
noises.
was my phone.
no, it's not a terrible
House
card.
is burning down now.
Yeah, I don't
Goodbye,
love
everyone.
it. I probably almost no deck I would use it right now,
Right.
unless drill became an
Sure.
insane archetype.
Yeah.
Orange Goku could maybe get some use out of it.
Maybe.
You can put your +2 modifier on
Right.
there.
Yeah.
Next, orange redirection.
I don't
I
love this.
don't know
one
what I
either.
think about this card yet. It definitely it's tough.
Yeah.
More than 2 drills is a high bar.
So, and the other thing is, so orange already has at
2
least
energy
2
blocks
energy
with
blocks
endurance that raise
with
your
endurance that guarantee 1 anger and, do
other
something
things.
else.
Right.
Yeah. So the way I framed it was all it has over those is a conditional that maybe gives you 1 more anger
Right.
instead of endurance and an immediate effect.
Yeah,
I don't
and-
like it.
Yeah, exactly. That math doesn't add
No,
up for
right.
this card being viable. I
And
feel
the
like.
only archetype you would want to do that in is pure anger, and if you're pure anger, you probably
doing
don't
playing
have
3 drills?
Yeah.
So
Agreed.
yeah,
Next, orange left.
I like
first.
this card.
I like this card too.
I like this card as well.
Even without the hit effect, I just like orange having a slightly higher density of anger raising cards,
Yeah.
and I'm totally okay with the conditional on it. Again, because you control
That's
it.
pretty easy to control.
But orange didn't need like an incredible anger raising energy attack. It just needed 1 or 2 more. That
Yeah,
We're
I
okay.
like that.
It's right in there with Orange Rage.
For sure,
Right,
yeah, I
or
like
Orange
that. I
Eruption,
like that it
yeah.
is comparable in power to Orange Rage.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I like having 2 potential 2 anger cards that do like meaty damage.
and the hit effect is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's something that you would want in like pretty much any orange build, like
Yeah,
light,
any
drill
red,
light
any
or
red
drill
build,
heavy
for
Like,
sure.
Yeah.
Because if you're losing a burning aura drill or something early,
Get your
to an
Devouring
erasing
Drills
cannon,
back. Is Devouring Drill a power?
I think it's constant. Actually,
Nah,
it is a
whatever.
constant.
Whatever.
So you couldn't get devouring drill
Nope.
back. But if you had
Is
like
it? I
your
thought it was a lightning bolt.
no, it's a constant.
Okay, I believe you.
I know because Cell Junior can search for it.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, if you lose like burning aura early, you can rejuve it with this card and then search it back out with red mastery later if you need to. So
I thought you said red
Right on.
mastery for a second. I was like,
Red
what?
Yeah, that card's neat.
I like it.
Yeah.
Orange Aid. Orange Aid.
Orange Aid.
Now I'm thirsty.
Gatorade.
Oh yeah.
16 looks enormous in
yeah.
this.
16 is
I
enormous.
have to read
I
this
know,
card, I have
but
to
he
read this card
looks
again.
like-
because
It's
I
not
forgot.
good.
Huge.
16's like a foot taller than Perfect Cell.
Yeah.
But he doesn't look that big when he's with like Bulma and Brief though. I
Because
feel
he's
like,
laying down.
but he looks like just.
Yeah,
he
I
just
don't
looks
like this card.
massive.
Before my catty comment about it before Hercule was going to be that it's like the worst, most conditional, just ever so slightly
sure.
anti-Hercule loop card.
push the
You
game
can force
along.
the draw up to 4 if they happen to have 4 cards in deck. Yeah,
I was
as
gonna,
is.
I was
just
gonna argue
sorta
from
hate
the other
it.
side. If you were the Orange Hercule deck, you could use that to just increase the speed of the game.
Die faster.
Yeah.
So okay,
Take your 1
to
mil.
get your way down to the loop.
Anyway, it's bad.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Next,
Does Orange have? Orange, I'm sure, has a better attach option for Unleashed. So
Not really.
It's got that.
there aren't many great
fucking
ones, but it's
Orange
like a
dressing
setup.
room
Yeah.
or whatever.
Oh, that's right.
I like that card
And-
better than this.
And the one that
Sure,
turns
so
off
do I.
and
And
the one that
Orange-
turns off Unleashed.
Orange Earthquake, right, which turns
Oh,
off your
yeah,
own
yeah.
Unleashed.
So maybe you'll have to use this card.
Eh.
If
don't
you're a
think
hero,
so.
you'll use Quick Blast.
Right.
Yeah.
This card's awesome.
Orange defense.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
This is one that can easily chain into 2 blocks.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Similar to
Womp.
Or a million other cool things.
Right.
Yeah, it's really good.
Uh-huh.
I think
Take a possession draw.
This is one of those another card that's just going to make deck building really interesting for Orange
Yeah.
players, and I'm so
A
excited
card
to
that
see
mi-
what people
a
come
card
up
that,
with.
by its very existence, might force people's orange refocus count to 2.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
Like
or
a 2,
quick dodge.
a 2 of this and
especially because
2 of 1 or 2 other orange
the way-
blocks.
the mastery works, it shuffles up your drill so often that
Yeah.
you won't have as many in the discard pile. Although there aren't any ways to get them out with the mastery anymore,
Right.
That's true.
so people are definitely
Refocus
gonna.
is in a weird spot.
Yeah, we'll definitely be playing the balancing game with block lines and orange.
Refocus both gives you an anger and has endurance, but I still feel this is at least at the same level.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I can see that.
And then, like you said, this combos more readily with the new mastery, even in terms of just like recycling a drill.
Yeah.
Like it can both get one from scratch, and then you can use that ability, or again, like if you have had a block drill out and then you manage to level like in your next phase, you can suck the same one up on the
Right.
next stopped attack.
And that's a whole combat.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Broly.
That's
Yeah.
like a time amount of defense.
right.
It's real good. I like it a lot.
Another one of the ones that is fully justified not having endurance.
Yeah,
Sure.
I agree.
Red driving
I
knee.
kind of like this card.
This is every red card in this set, basically.
Yeah, kind of.
This one I think is a little bit better. It's what the other red cards
Yes,
aspire
it's a little
to.
better.
If it's in Ascension on hit, going to give you a decent amount of stuff.
I like that it splits the guaranteed anger with the potential anger.
For sure. Yeah, I would hate it if it were all
Right.
potential anger. But as is, it's totally okay. Like this card, I would have loved a 1 endurance on.
Yeah.
But
just,
I mean, it's
again,
still
one of
Two
the-
alright.
anger and a crit on hit is a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it doesn't
is
like
true.
on hit. It is on point.
And Yamcha's dying.
Yeah.
That is a good picture.
Can't be enough cards with Yamcha dying.
More death.
Cell Jr. is looking him dead in the eye while doing it.
More like death in the
right.
armpit.
He's trying to look him in the eye.
Yeah, this card is
His
okay.
hand looks. Cell Jr.'s hand looks really tiny.
I mean,
They're not-
Cell
they're
Jr.'s
not
small.
big.
They're not, but his arm just looks so big compared
He's
to
a
it.
muscly man.
That's right. Can't build muscle in your fist. That's not how,
Don't tell
that's
me
not
how to
how
live
even
my
Cell
life.
Juniors work.
You don't control me.
Dex. Red evade.
This
Wow.
card's gotten a lot of discussion.
I'm not
kinda
really
weird.
I don't think it's going to be consistent enough to.
I'm glad it has
The
2
end
endurance.
card. Yeah, I would
because
say the
otherwise it would not.
Right,
even
that would
endurance-
just be trash.
The endurance puts it at like a theoretical, like you could maybe run 2 of
Right.
it in builds of stuff.
Like
but-
some other decks we've talked about, or other styles, it doesn't have a lot of competition.
Right,
for
red
energy blocks.
red anger does not have much of a block line.
It's got red energy defensive stance, which
And
is
that's
super
it.
vanilla, but definitely better than this. But yeah, other than that, it's a
Red
little
energy
bleak.
shield.
Yeah,
I don't know what the
I think
goes
the
to
other
second
new-
energy block was for like red cooler.
I think the other new one is pretty good. What I will say about this is, if you are running resourceful block, you can
Yes.
put yourself at a level disadvantage. And
Sure,
get
and
the
then
anger
that
out.
Yeah.
anger that
If,
you'll
if somebody
ultimately-
attacked with a
that's-
physical and then an energy in succession.
Right, exactly. So it's not going to be very consistent.
Which I mean isn't
but-
necessarily out of the picture.
No.
But if,
Not-
if the
it's-
meta
it's
is
a weird sequencing that you need to
Yeah.
do.
This is where red not having that filter effect on the mastery is gonna
Right.
really
Yeah.
hurt
Yeah,
deck
I agree.
space.
In this meta, though, having Blue Goku as one of the most popular decks and often being at 4 will mean that
Yeah.
there are going to be
That's- yeah,
matchups
it's
where you
true.
can usually use this card, but still,
Yeah.
Eh.
It's okay.
it's
Meh.
okay.
Next. Red explosion.
Boom.
I feel like I kind of hate most of these
Yeah.
random red energy attacks.
I don't totally
Uh,
hate this one. It's got an auto skip, and the damage is decent, at least.
Yeah.
The hit effect on it.
If red had more of the energy package between buffs and just more of a robust deck
Yeah.
build
One thing
there.
I know that I definitely hate is the handful of weird red cards that are themed around stage loss.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's not meaningful for the most part, especially on an energy attack. What I will say is, if that part of this card were switched with the hit effect, I would like it a lot more.
Oh, sure.
If it gave
If it
you
was
an
a
anger as an
secondary
immediate
anger.
and skipped your opponent's
Yeah, because
Yeah,
it would be a
that's
super
really cool.
viable tool in anger decks just
Especially
to
for
guarantee
Ascension.
levels.
That'll be
Yeah.
a lot of guaranteed anger
You could go
give
from
yourself.
1 anger to a level
Right.
without your opponent getting a phase.
For sure.
Ha-ha!
Yeah,
I would've loved that.
I totally agree. That would change the dynamics of how this card was used,
Uh-huh.
like 100%.
Right.
Skips
And
are
as is-
really neat.
As is, it's just like
Meh.
really boring.
Really
Yeah.
boring.
Get this
I
boring
don't
card.
I don't
out
hate
here.
it, but I wish it just were a little different.
Red energy as an archetype.
I totally
isn't there.
agree.
Not in crit range doesn't do it any favors.
No.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I don't love it. Next, Red Hurl.
Similar.
Simple but effective.
Is it? It's okay.
Right, it's a net 6. I mean, you say net
I
6.
don't like this
4 life
any
hit 2
more than the
raise
card
your
we
hand.
just looked at.
I like it a
I'll
little
say
more. It's like the anger's guaranteed.
I mean, I probably like it a little less. Like, I like the skip probably more than just a generic anger.
The
like,
two
in terms
rejuvenate
of
is more the
like,
part
if you
that
could
puts
only
it over
have
the
one or
top.
the other.
I'm
Can
glad
I
it
have
cost one
both?
stage.
Well,
But yeah,
exactly. That was the
Yeah.
argument for the last card. Is if
Right.
you could have both, that card is awesome.
Right.
But one or the other, I don't know. Yeah,
I don't think
love this
I
card
don't think
either.
it'll fit in decks. But
Nah, I don't think so.
No.
Next,
Also not crit range.
Red Repel.
Yamcha fighting Marcel Jr.
This card's okay. It's like a worse red blocking hand,
Yeah,
also
absolutely.
with no
Yeah.
endurance.
We're gonna see another card that is a very comparable to red blocking hand later. So
Again,
I
that
think
lose
this one,
that lose
between
one
the
stage,
two, this one's gonna push this one out.
Yeah, that lose one stage is total dog shit, except
Right,
for the
yeah.
handful of terrible effects that they put on other cards that interact
Right.
with making your
For the
opponent lose
most part,
stages.
this one just can't compete with blocking hand. So
And even resourceful block is
Right.
going to take a slot in a handful of red MPPV decks.
For sure. And in fact, resourceful block I think gets a lot of mileage in the set because there are stacks that really benefit. Like they have a
Trunks.
high chance
Right.
of giving you another action, pivoting down a
Sure,
level.
yeah.
Like Gohan
Like
and Trunks
Goku.
and Goku. Like resourceful block I think gets better just because of how the
Yeah.
MP stacks are constructed
Yeah,
in
yeah.
set 7. So
Mhm.
yeah, I super
we're
don't
not
like
gonna
this
see much of
card.
one. Repel it.
Next, Red Sneaky Strike.
Red sneaky,
There it is,
lots
your
of
opponent.
small effects.
Your opponent loses 2 stages again. But if you hit him with like 5 of those in one turn, man.
You've done like a Napa 2 amount of damage.
I cannot
Fuck off.
I cannot
Come on.
believe. I cannot believe that the anger on this card has a conditional.
Right.
Yeah, no
Yeah.
shit.
It's
Oh,
This
I really hate this card.
This looks like a card that needed about 5 endurance.
Oh my
you
god.
can't save this card with endurance. It
Yeah,
just
I
needed
would-
reworked.
I would hate this card if it had 2 endurance and didn't and was just like it did all
No
these things without a
conditional.
condition. Like I would.
Yeah, I agree.
Ugh. Next,
It's no more.
Red Takeover.
This card's
Another
a
card.
similar vein.
Man, read the set. Why?
So again, it's trying to force stage loss. This time it'll mostly proc whenever you crit
right.
as Ascension. It does use a critical damage effect itself, which is the saving grace of the card probably, but I'm not sure it does enough outside of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the crit combined with the damage buff is okay. The stage loss
Yeah.
part again.
With
is
all
just
the
like,
stage loss
total
and a
crap.
couple of just a bunch of attacks like AT plus 2 stages, is physical red physical stage pressure? Is it
Well,
there?
Red Physical
Are
Stage
they
Pressure
going
didn't
for it?
need that bad. Like
Right.
Uh-huh.
It's not fitting in Ruthless.
I said, they don't.
Yeah.
The stage loss effects don't really add to a pure beatdown
No.
deck, and they don't
Right.
add to a pure anger deck.
I'm just curious
I
where
just
we're
don't
going
know where
here.
they're supposed to be. Yeah, it's
Right,
total.
yeah.
It's total garbage. I'm really not a fan of that
felt
weird
like
theme. I
they-
hope they drop it after this.
Yeah.
6 weeks ago, they remembered they needed to make red cards and,
right,
and
like,
decided that was the theme.
Each of these has one fewer line of text than we wish it had, so that's where we filled in the gaps. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not into it.
No.
Nope.
Next, Red Tilt.
This card's cool. I'm okay with this.
Yeah. This is definitely
So
just kind of feeding off of Red Ascension Master.
Right. This will net you a card in Ascension.
I don't know if it'll ultimately fit into the how the red energy block lines fit out with no endurance on it or other effects, but
Being
stop an attack, effectively draw a card is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, that's fine. I would definitely use this as probably the second energy block in Red Ascension.
In a world where we'd already talked about this before too, Red Sacrifice doesn't really play
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
in Ascension builds, but this card totally does.
Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think this card is a-okay.
I'm
It
fine with
should
it.
definitely see play.
Glad it exists.
Next, Red Determination.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
is,
I say,
this
yeah,
is
here we
the
go. Like
blocking
again,
hand card.
But only conditional on using some
conditional
of those
on using
other
bad
cards.
other cards.
Does the mastery
yeah.
lower stages?
No,
it
if
gives
there's
you
no-
2 stages.
yeah.
If it said if you have gained 2 stages,
Exactly. Yeah, if it worked,
it would be cool.
If it worked with the mastery, or if even like, because I can't think of a single good MP that has other than
Android
21.
level 1.
There are
yeah.
a lot of bad MPs it works with.
Right?
That's
like
right.
Napa
Napa
level
level
2.
An Android 19,
Thank
the
goodness.
Ally and the MP.
Good. Perfect.
Actually, not the Ally. Just kidding. Because
Good,
it's when
even
entering
better.
combat.
Right. Right.
Yes.
All right, so this is going to be a little harder to trigger than
I don't like
thought.
it. I probably
it out.
wouldn't
Yeah, I
use it.
hate this card because I hate the cards that it's supposed to work with.
Right.
Right.
Get it out.
Next. Red Jab.
The same
Oh,
card.
I
Yeah.
actually like this card.
Seconds
this card is a
later.
cool pivot for
It's an attack that uses a crit effect. So
Yeah,
it's
from,
like
yeah,
a knee
red-
lift.
And
red- yeah,
like
I would say knee lift.
A real
That was the-
attack,
Yeah, I would say it's
as opposed to knee lift.
Right. Especially if you're not trying to stage pressure.
The pay to make it unpreventable, I don't know
That's
about.
a steep
but,
cost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that
I
is
like
a
that
steep
it's
cost,
an
but
option.
Yeah, I actually like it a ton.
It's not,
like
it's not something to be angry about.
this card is like a theoretical auto crit in plenty of situations
Right.
in Ruthless. Like you're gonna have him down at 0
Right.
sometimes, and you can
Right.
pay the 3 stages to do the 3 life plus.
Well, you
plus
could
the
also
modifier.
pay off an ally, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
It
if
just
you
says
have
you may
allies.
pay 3
Yep.
stages.
And if you're Goku Ruthless at 3 or 4, it'll be in crit range also.
Right.
Yeah, I think this card is a totally viable like swap for knee lift. Absolutely.
If you're Broly above level 1, it'll often be in crit
I
range.
say yeah, no shit.
And that's assuming that, I mean, the value of a crit is decreasing every set.
Oh
but
yeah.
I don't necessarily.
It's not
agree,
0
but
by any means.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The thing
I
is,
think the book hasn't been written on that yet.
Yeah.
Crits are now more useful as constant anger
Anti-anger.
tech.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
that
that's going
doesn't
to be the
take
most
up
valuable.
deck space.
tool.
Exactly.
And I still think like I think pure ally decks are gonna be a real hard sell, but I think
Right.
decks that splash an ally or two are still gonna be like in
Yeah,
full
I
effect.
think so too.
We'll see.
And that's where like crits will be like.
you don't want
kind
to
of-
have a deck bereft of crit effects.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that card. It's not flashy, but it's totally okay. Saiyan Vacation.
Because you're going to run named setups whether we
God,
like it or
I
not.
hate this fucking card.
Well, this one can search for a styled setup,
Yes.
and that
That's
does
true.
that does give it a lot of.
There's a
other
lot of good
options.
Saiyan setups that are pretty good.
So what I'll point out is in Saiyan clench decks, there's a setup that does straight stage damage, and if
Oh,
you're
right.
running 1 or 2 of these, this just becomes another one of those in play, and that's a deck that you want to be able to punch through in one combat. So having 2 or 3 attacks on the board is a big deal for clench.
Sure.
So I like this card in those decks, and
If you're only running a deck with 3 setups, say 3 Saiyan and Rage, and you run a couple of these, then you're just effectively increasing the amount of Saiyan and Rages you can drop early.
yeah.
So
I
you
mean,
just
that's
chain
true.
each of these into a Saiyan and Rage,
Or-
even if you have others on the table.
Or Saiyan Recovery, or
Yeah.
Saiyan Offensive Rush, because a lot
Saiyan
of
Peace.
a lot of Saiyan decks like to run a couple of setups, but none of them really like to run a lot. So this works in those decks.
Right,
Although
I-
I do wish this had endurance or something.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I would be. My opinion on this card would be totally different.
One
if it had
endurance would be
especially
a big,
for
big
Saiyan, yeah,
catch
having
one.
any amount of endurance makes a card a lot better for like
Yeah.
rampaging
Right.
Gohan.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't hate this card. I don't know if people use it, but just kind of buff up the number of cards you could potentially draw that could potentially draw cards effectively.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Woohoo.
Endurance would have gone a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Next, Saiyan Escape.
this card.
I did it!
I'm not actually sure this is really any better than Saiyan Arm Catch in almost any situation.
But it's the second slot.
I say yeah, but
it,
you
yeah,
can use
now
it
you
as
can have
another
6
one.
physical
Right.
blocks with at least 2 endurance.
You have a viable second physical block.
And in rampaging, this does actually become a
Yes!
pretty good attack because it becomes a physical for 4, gain 3
Right,
stages.
the gains 3 stages.
I've
Yeah.
never
Which
been
is
so
pretty
happy
cool.
about a block with no effect.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah,
and in fact,
especially in clench decks, it's
Right.
a physical for 8 plus. that
Yeah, no shit.
they gains 3 stages, so I really like it. I'm glad it
yeah,
exists.
this card is cool. It's
Woohoo!
boring, but totally okay.
Yep.
It fills a need.
I'm glad it's
Because before anyone hadn't really built Saiyan decks, there was exactly one viable Saiyan physical block.
Sure.
It
And it was also boring and kind of unpalatable.
Right, exactly. And Saiyan Arm Catch.
Yeah.
Yay.
This card is okay.
This card is not kind of
Saiyan
okay.
This
High
card's
kick.
pretty bad.
Yeah,
I was like, this is one of those Timmy
So-
cards you look at. It's like, look at all the potential ways to do 10 life cards of damage, and the more you look at it, the more you realize it's kind of
The
not
number-
likely to happen.
The number 4 on this card is really misleading because you have to have 6 cards in your hand
Right.
sure,
to make
because
this card work.
this is a card, right? Presumably
Yeah,
coming
and
from your
it's-
hand.
Right. So after you play this, you have to still have 5 cards remaining in your hand.
It's
mean,
not
you-
impossible,
You
but
could have
pretty
5
rare.
cards in your first action with Goku level 4,
Right.
and then you're sucking this bad boy out of a zone to swing for 10 maybe.
You'd still need like to be entered on and use a VTP to get an extra card or something.
It's not likely, and missing
it
the
still
effect
doesn't do that much.
right. Missing the effect kind of really makes this card bad.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing as the other attacks that just potentially do big damage, except
Right.
like
It
Phil
might
said,
do 4.
Yeah, the overhead on like this one is worse than most in terms of what
Especially
you need to,
for-
the hoops you need to jump through to make it do big damage. Even
Most damage dealing Saiyan decks are going to do stage damage.
sure.
And it's not hard to find a stage attack to do 10 life cards anymore.
This card should become unpreventable and
Sure.
maybe even unstoppable.
That's fine.
I don't know about
if
that.
you fulfill the condition.
Yes.
One or the other. How
If
about
you have
one or
more
the
than
other?
four
I
cards
would
in
totally
hand.
be on board with one or the other. Yeah, that's
I'm
100% where I would
I'm still
pivot
waiting
with
for
this
any card that's just has the catch. This card is unstoppable or unpreventable to just make it a choice for you.
If I ever make a card, it'll do something and also do that.
Yeah, sure.
Like I said, we'll get back to it, but that was my hot Kamehameha errata that I would do personally.
This card's weird.
This card, yeah, I don't hate it.
Unlike physical blocks, Saiyan did have a couple of
Right,
different energy
there's
block
Some
possibilities.
nice options with
And
endurance.
So for Saiyan energy deflection, this is mostly just worse. It drops the endurance for the
Right.
option to gain 5 stages, which I don't think is
And
worth
even
dropping to endurance.
the set 1 energy block that I can't remember the name with Nap on it, that was an energy block to
That
raise
gives
your
an
anger
anger
one.
and
It
shuffles
also
up.
shuffles
shuffled
itself,
in
yeah.
if you were stronger.
Yes.
And Saiyan hand swipe is good too because it's
Right.
like a black upward.
Yeah.
Hand swipe is definitely tier 1 for saying
So much
energy
endurance.
blocks.
Right. Yeah. So
But this card isn't terrible.
No,
it's not
okay.
terrible.
It's okay.
It's
If-
just got
if-
too much competition.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Much like some of the other black blocks and stuff. Like
It needed
Yeah.
endurance and
Sure.
it doesn't have it.
yeah, agreed. It's all right. Saiyan internal conflict.
I think this
Hate it.
wins. Well, I think this wins for me in my favorite name of a card. Like what? And the
Especially
picture,
with the
it's
picture.
so good.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I like this
Poor
card.
Vegeta.
The old Vegeta's anger drill, I think,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yep.
yeah.
which is
It's
really
just
bad.
like
Yeah, I also hate it. Like,
Yeah.
I just like the name. And
I don't
picture.
even want to talk
That's
about
all
it
I want. I
anymore.
just want to
Right,
like
it's really
it just bums me out a
We'll
little
just
bit.
cut the bottom off and like I'll just get a foil.
Why?
Yeah,
You
this
can't
card-
even net anger with the original
Right,
Saiyan Master
yeah.
anymore. Like,
It's just bad.
Get it out.
don't like it. Saiyan Key Web.
This is the card I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, I was saying,
So-
we already had a conversation about Saiyan Key
All I'm
Web.
gonna say is I don't like this card. It doesn't change the game state. It's not in crit range. It doesn't have endurance. It's
not good.
way too vanilla, and it's yeah.
Yeah, I
don't
stand by, when we were discussing it, I stand by the criticism that I threw out that, like, if this was a set 2 card,
Yes, that's
it would
about
be
the time.
it would
it would be
okay.
like power. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It would be power equivalent to cards coming out at that time, and it still wouldn't have moved the needle to make Saiyan viable in that era of the game.
How long
Right,
ago
yeah.
did we get the energy attack that was free for 6 for Saiyan?
Yeah, and that card
That was
owns,
2
and
sets
actually,
ago,
it's
I
a
think 2 or 3.
that's an evolution card. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
No one plays that card.
Yeah, and that card
Yeah.
actually got the wind taken out of its sails a little bit because it Devious is no longer a thing.
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
That's right,
Still
it did
shuts
have-
out,
it did
still
have
shuts
some
off stare
effects.
downs.
Sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
like
and
that
a
card
couple
over
other
this
effects.
card.
I
10
forgot
times
that
out of
even
10.
had it that
Right,
effect.
I agree.
Yeah, nope.
Yeah.
No, thank you. It's fine, but just not
Key
good
Web,
enough.
I think, is an interesting name.
Yes.
It's a cool name. It's a really cool picture.
Yeah.
But nope.
Shit ass.
Nope.
Alright.
Right out.
Saiyan stomach.
This
thrust.
card was clarified today. It does not affect blocks or attacks unless it's a card that stays in play.
Okay.
So if they read Double Strike, it'll affect that.
Interesting.
But if they just use it,
I'm glad that we got that ruling. It would have been
I
definitely
would-
a little
that
It is.
how I
It
would
is.
have
It is
ruled it.
worded
Right.
very strangely.
by the
Yeah.
rules, cards you play from your hand under play. But
Sure.
it's not.
So with
this
this-
card's not very good.
Would this work
Right,
if
with
they
that-
like
that really
play,
also kind of kills this
place
card.
a ball or a drill or
Yes.
something like that? Okay, so
Yeah.
it's that
So
and
if you tutor something
stay
into
on the
play,
like.
if this were in a
multiple use
meching card,
attack.
I'd really
Yeah.
like it.
Okay.
That would be something. That would
Yeah.
be But I mean, still, it's got cards that do 5 stage damage are just like there's something
diamond
about them
is
that
it?
I find distasteful.
Yeah.
and it doesn't have endurance or
Right.
anything else.
No
in there.
effects. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Sorry.
Nope.
Next, Saiyan
This
Turn
card-
Kick.
this
I like
card's
this card a
super
lot.
Fucking cool.
Yeah.
So the parenthetical on this is necessary for the card to feel good and make it work.
Yeah.
The
That's
endurance
such a
on
cool
it is
parenthetical.
awesome, and the immediate effects makes it meaty as hell.
Right.
Yeah, and in fact, I like as opposed to just being like that parenthetical being a second line of text. I like that this card is diverse in that way.
Right.
Where
Yeah, yeah.
The second thing that it does happens in a different scenario. Like,
Also, the parenthetical can search for a non-style drill,
Yeah.
even though the immediate only affects on a style drill.
Yeah.
Huh.
Which is kind of cool.
I guess.
Extra options.
Also 6 speed lines.
Gohan got kicked really hard.
yeah, I like this card a lot.
I generally
Yeah,
don't
it's
like
cool.
like the design space on banishing something for endurance and get a cool effect like Pickle's weighted clothing or
Right.
the other one. But I like this one just because it forces Saiyan to play in a way it doesn't normally play.
Right.
It changes the deck.
It's not giving you
viewpoint.
a really obvious, super powerful
right.
effect.
It's not taking something you're already doing and making it stronger.
Sure.
Right, exactly. It
So
makes
I
you
really
want to build
like
in a
this
different
card.
way. Yeah.
I
3
agree.
endurance, man.
I agree on with both of those opinions. I think it's really cool.
Please make cards decks with that card.
That's right. Saiyan Bash.
Oh, and right.
Like,
Man, why are
Like-
there so many Saiyan cards that destroy setups?
Yeah.
Because you're supposed to run setups and
Also,
Saiyan
I
now.
can't fucking considering how steep
card's so bad.
considering how
Cost is
steep that
ridiculous.
cost is. I can't believe it's banish after use. Like what?
It should rejuvenate like 10.
Like fucking
Destroying 3 setups,
Oh.
3
Right,
cards
That's
out of
so
your
much
hand.
potential that you could have
Yeah.
used better.
Right, exactly.
That's 3 cards you could have drawn.
Yeah, this card is
6 anger.
what? Ugh.
Yeah,
Get it
Next.
out.
I don't get it.
Saiyan
This card's
Crouch.
cool.
This card is cool.
So the immediate effect is pretty good. Just being unleashed fodder goes a long way, and then the PUR on it's not nothing.
Yeah.
It's easy to hit
yeah.
10 PUR.
A
if you
Namek
feel
6
like it.
worth of.
And then you
Right.
rejuve it when you change levels.
Right,
Like,
which is weird because it means if you
Yeah,
do
the-
unleash for
you
it, you
unleash
lose
for
it
it.
immediately.
but then you
Right.
could,
And
you
can't
could then
even
later
use it
unleash for it again.
You could.
Right. If you unleash for it while you're already a 4, or if you don't change
Don't
levels,
change
you
levels,
can keep
sure.
it. I'm glad it has endurance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
The 2 endurance is the thing putting this into the realm of viability.
I would totally
Right.
hate this card if it had 0
Yeah.
endurance. But as is, yeah, I kind of like
I
it.
kind of like it.
I would run it in decks that use unleash
Right.
just as an extra target, but otherwise probably not.
That's all you want out of an attached card is it has a couple endurance and
Sure.
it does something useful.
Right.
Yeah, and I love this card as like a second unleashed target.
Yeah,
Like
sure.
like the number 2 card you run for unleashed, like next to like a rescue or
You,
some of
you
the
won't
other
always
options
have
they
a
have.
rescue left in your deck.
Yeah.
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 But if your energy
But
block
you
line
could
has 2
have
or
a
3 of
crouch.
these,
Yeah. They'll be kicking around.
Woohoo.
Yep.
Yeah, that card's all right.
And your endurance block line is just
Oh boy.
ridiculous.
Uh-oh.
Here we
Let's
go.
do
Earthball.
incoming opinions.
Yeah.
I'm not as down on Earth Dragon Balls as some of the other people at the table, but
Yeah.
I definitely don't think they're as good as a set as Namek.
No.
And I've warmed up to them a little bit, like just ever so slightly over
Uh-huh.
time. But when I first saw even the first half
Yeah,
of the
well, that
Earthballs,
was the
I was
problem was the first half was just like worse Namek
yeah,
Dragon Balls.
I was
so-
like, man.
the way, I mean, so many of these are just going to revolve around like how they work in Radiant, but the way that works in Radiant is really neat. So you always play it under your opponent's control, and you still get the buff.
yeah, I like Earth 1 in Radiant and in a couple of other situations.
Yeah. If you just care about the damage buff, you can place that out and never care if it gets stolen.
Honestly, my biggest problem as a parallel to Namek 1 is that it doesn't protect your other Dragon
Right.
Balls. That's a big deal.
Yeah, it's really weird, and that would have been even like it would have been a cool risk reward thing for the same use case Kyle's describing of like, oh well, I did give it to my opponent, but now they also do have like some like slight weird beneficial effect, or even want to do that. Like I don't
if
know.
you play it under your opponent's control, and then later in the game you've got the other 6, and you capture it, do you win before it shuffles?
You don't have
It's
to
a
shuffle,
May.
Oh, it is a May?
Yeah, it's a
okay,
May,
I
yeah.
must have missed that.
but you
I'm pretty
would,
su-
I think.
Because it's technically, like,
You would win.
captured, it's
if
under
it's-
your
you would
control,
it
and just...
before
Right.
the effect.
If
even
it wasn't
could.
a May.
Right.
Okay.
You would
And in
still
fact, I'm pretty sure the rule is just all Dragon Ball powers on capture are you can either use the
That's
whole
all-
power
that's
or not.
true.
that's true. You don't have to.
So
use it.
yeah, and for
It's-
any
it's
ball
rarely
effect,
Although
used.
this is a constant effect, which may be different.
That's
But it, I mean, it
But
also...
yeah,
that-
anyway.
it
Right,
also
yeah,
works,
that's-
We're talking like
that's
hypothetical
an interesting
speed.
discussion.
Yeah.
And Lorraine, the rule for Dragon Balls is if at any time you control all 7, you win instantly.
Yeah,
Right.
No matter
okay.
what.
That's what I was just like.
Which
It was
is
like,
the
is
same-
it that instant like?
Yeah.
Before
It-
any
Like the
sort
second
of words
like
happen.
you have
Right.
no cards in your deck, it's over.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is also the reason that if you played Namek 3 with 1 card left, but it was the 7th ball,
Yeah,
you would win
you just
before
win.
you draw. Yeah, same thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's really weird, but like you said, and seeing it with the new Namekian Mastery, like that warms it up a little bit. But in
Yeah.
a vacuum, it's just worse than
Oh yeah.
Namek
Right.
1
For the
without
most
that
part.
context.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Ball 2 is a weird pivot.
I like Ball 2.
Yeah, I don't think this
Yeah.
is necessarily better or worse than
Right.
Namek 2. I doubt there are many situations where you'll advance your opponent's MP, but
There
Right.
weren't
it'll
many
come
where
up
you would
one
lower
e-
yourself
once
either.
every 10 or 15 games or whatever.
It's
Yeah.
probably more likely you'd want to lower yourself than raise your opponent.
I mean, yeah,
But it's
I
only
definitely-
that's where I'm
opponent,
at, too.
so you can't advance.
For the comparison between Namek
Oh,
2.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because Namek 2 lets you
yeah,
maybe
I
lower
know what that does. God, I'm not an
but it's at
idiot.
least similar enough that
I
it'll
wish
fill
they
its
were a
role in the
little more
environment.
different.
Yeah. But,
It's a parallel, but only
It's just a little
in
worse.
name.
Yeah.
Because 99% of the time they'll do the same thing.
yeah.
for sure. And the other thing about this one is that it is mandatory when you play it. Namek Ball 2 is may even when it enters play. Like you don't have to do any action with Namek Ball 2. With Earth Ball 2, you have to do something when it is played.
There are definitely situations you don't want to advance
or lower either player,
I mean,
especially late game, like in really weird game states.
You really screw yourself up.
If for some reason you're Broly, you could just advance him to drop him stages.
That's funny.
All right,
Get down to 3. I'm attacking.
Yep.
That's cute. I hadn't thought about that. I like.
I don't know why you could have just this
the
one.
Broly Dragon Ball deck.
Just this ball.
Right.
That's it.
Cute.
That's a use case.
Yeah.
I found it.
I actually like this one a lot.
Yeah, this is one of the rare ones where it outshines the Earth Ball or the Namek Ball.
It's easier to control the bottom of your discard pile than the cards on top of your deck.
Sure.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It actually increases your deck count.
Right.
Yeah, I was to say, as opposed to like, slightly decreasing your
technically
deck
down by
heals
1.
damage.
And it gives you a shuffle, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and like
It
very
does
useful.
lose like the anger tech though,
Right.
because you could lower theirs or whatever.
Yeah, I think this is a total like. I think this is a fair trade.
You lose the fun of fishing with Namek Dragon Ball 3 for
That's
the
true.
known quantity of Earth Dragon Ball 3.
One of the coolest things you can do with this is draw 3 cards from the discard pile and then shuffle like a Dragon Ball and a Drill back into your deck. You can even use it to be like, okay, there's a Visiting on the bottom of my discard pile that I want back in my deck.
Sure.
Just put it there if you're using it in combat.
Yeah, that's
I
okay.
like it.
I like the shuffles, yeah.
Yeah.
I do like it. I like it a lot. Ball 4.
I don't hate it. This one's
yeah.
grown on me a little bit. I think hitting setups and drills isn't as important as it used to be. So at first it was, why would I ever not want to be Namek 4?
Yeah, and the part about this card that I kind of hate is not the ally part. It's like the mill is just so pointless. Like it just,
It's
I
not
feel like
much.
it doesn't really synergize with any other thing that these balls do.
I would
or
have
anything
loved
that
to have like any defensive effect that helps you protect your balls or take less damage. Or
For
something
sure.
like
Right,
that,
and that's
instead
fine.
of
I would
to-
love it if this
I like-
card lowered to anger.
I like that
Yeah,
it
that'd
always
be
gives
cool.
you the guaranteed something. As just if
Yeah.
they don't have any allies or setups, then it's just better.
Right.
It's true.
Or like expanding on what Dustin said, if it milled 2 or lowered your opponent's anger, that would be
just
really
be a lot
cool.
better.
Yeah. It's just like the decks that would run. Like, no deck is going to run just Earth Ball 4.
No.
Decks that run Earth Ball
Right.
4 are going to run a full set of Earth Balls. I
Yeah.
feel like decks
A
that
lot
run
of people definitely just run our Namek Dragon Ball 4 because of what it does.
Right. I
Yeah.
feel like decks
Yeah.
that run a full set of Earth Balls are not really going to benefit demonstrably from the mill 2.
Correct me if
it'll
I'm-
work. It'll do a little damage.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure every style has bountiful options for anti-ally.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could,
Even
especially in Tug
unstyled
of War.
stars.
If you, or if you can just include crit effects.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially if you include crit
Yeah.
effects. But yeah, Tug of War is one of the best ally tech cards
Right.
in the game. And it
So that's
also gets rid of an ally and lowers 2 anger.
Right. And gives a shuffle.
And gives a shuffle
Got a
and
couple
has 2
endurance.
endurance. So anyway.
Yeah, I don't love
So
the way
don't
that-
use Earth 4.
I don't love the way
use
this
Tug
card's
of
put
War
together.
instead.
There you go. We solved your problem.
Tug, not 4.
Earth Ball 5.
I like this because it is actually really different than Namek 5 in a good way.
I really like the banish. Like that's my
Yeah.
favorite part of this card by far.
And it can bring a Dragon Ball back that your opponent controls,
Yeah.
or let you reshuffle one of your own that you want to use again. Both of those are interesting effects, so I like it. I'm okay with it as a completely different option from Namek 5.
Yeah, this card's totally okay. And again, Namek
It just
5
does something
like
different.
Namek 5 is fine, but it was never like a shining star
No,
of
right.
the
And-
ball
and
set
often as a ball deck, you didn't even want to play 5 because your opponent might steal it and
for sure.
fuck you up with it.
Yeah, exactly.
That won't happen with
a
Earth
slightly,
5.
yeah, a slightly less egregious ball 3 threat to your own safety while it's
Yeah.
in play under your control. But
Right.
yeah, exactly. This doesn't have the potential to like end your life in any given combat with a random draw or whatever. So.
Also, it lets you banish from your own discard pile, which
Yeah.
is
Not-
especially
nothing.
cool since you're probably also running Earth 3.
right.
So
you set that
you
up.
can sculpt your discard pile and then draw whatever you need, which is pretty
Or
cool.
if you're ruthless.
Yeah.
sure.
There's cards
That ruthless Broly deck's just getting better and better.
Yeah.
Ruthless Brawler that runs
You know
a
what?
set of Earth Balls.
I don't hate that. He's also got Inferno.
Right,
and
you
you
can
can
just
crit 3 or 4
crit,
times
crit,
a turn.
crit.
You can use that new physical that is a crit and sometimes
Right.
unpreventable into
There
another
we go.
crit.
That's
You
my
heard it here
backup deck.
first, folks.
I'm making this deck. This is going to be triple threat red Android 13 all over again.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
Oh,
And
man.
that was an old Z reference. I don't mean Android 13.
Yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah. Yep.
I'm doing it. Anyway.
Earth
Good,
Ball
I'm glad.
6 might be
It's
the one
weird.
that makes me the maddest.
Yeah.
In terms of just like what a missed opportunity it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like because the fact that this card needed the parenthetical if it's banished and it's not already in play, it rejuvenates itself.
That would
Like
be-
it fucking makes me super mad that this card, this ball, and this ball alone, like supposedly should be some weird protection for ball decks.
right.
But in like a terrible way.
Yeah, I mean, like, because it doesn't work, when it's not in play. Like,
And it's only
it's such a
your...
bad recourse for that.
Nobody else is going to be running Earth Dragon Balls, so that's never going to happen.
Because it's yours. It's not like if you have a ball out and your opponent banishes it. Who cares? I mean, you don't want them to get the reju.
What I wish is that your own effects would no longer banish, so you could use like Blinding Energy Move or Red Ascension Mastery.
Oh, sure.
That would have made a big difference to me.
Oh, that's right. Because it
Although
does say...
leaping kicks where the balls go straight
Yeah,
back
that's
would be a
true.
little
All
fucked
right.
up.
Never mind. Off the top of your deck.
Off the top of your deck,
Yeah.
that would be okay. But yeah, it's just like, I don't know. The thing that it's trying to do, I feel like, is almost useless in terms of that part.
The other part of it in Restored allows you to kind of do a lot of funny things.
I mean,
Right.
yes.
You can
But it's no
sort of
pick,
live a
so-
long time at the end of a game if you're
Yeah.
really low on deck without ever progressing through your deck, which is funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it doesn't accomplish much
No.
other than just living.
It's not going to save your life.
I mean, it is a cool, like, that
It's a
part of it
Band-Aid
is
on a
sort of neat
gun
and restored
wound.
specifically, just like, whatever your last action was,
you could
if you
suck it back to the top.
if you really wanted it, you can get that card back. So, like, that is a legit neat use of this card. But then we're going back to, I just
Shrug.
don't think I like restored builds with Earth Balls.
Right.
Like, just,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not that into it.
It's gonna do what it does for Earth Dragon Ball decks, and
Mm-hmm.
that's about it. It's definitely no comparison to Namek 6.
no.
And like I said, just the thing, I just
Yeah.
feel like it fails conceptually at the thing that I think it wants to be doing. But
Moving.
yeah. And I kind of like Ball 7.
I do
Ball
too.
7's cool.
Like, I'm totally okay with it. The thing I hate about this card, and I hate this a lot, is that the fact that it's an unverifiable once per game effect just infuriates me on a conceptual level. Just like you'll get into didn't they situations where like, did I Earthball 7 this game
Especially
Right.
in
in like
combat?
a
I
best,
don't know.
Especially in a best 2 out of 3 or something.
Oh,
Where, like,
yeah.
I know you
Was that
used
this game
it,
or
but
last
when
game?
was it?
That-
Yeah.
I mean, this
An
is
hour
just
ago.
like note
Like
taking.
this card should come in a booster pack with a token that's that you put on your MP to say if you've used it or not.
It's a little ball 7.
So that part about it makes me really mad, but the actual effect I really like.
So I'm not sure if anyone has thought about this, but I think it was clarified today. The constant, if this leaves play and comes back in, you cannot use the constant effect.
So it
again.
has a memory.
It's not because it has memory. It's because constants and powers work differently.
Oh.
Man, that's weird. That
That's,
is
really
So
weird.
That's dumb.
anything, including like a drill, if it has a
Huh.
constant that you use
That
once
you use
a turn,
once per, so that can't be.
Why
sure.
isn't it a
cycle.
power?
I don't know.
All right.
Probably for the exact reason.
Really have no idea.
Whatever.
They wanted
Right.
you to be able to tutor it with Cell Junior 1
Yes,
hit.
that's what you do with this ball.
I'm
Kyle,
making
you broke my brain there.
Cell Junior
I'm making
Earthball.
Cell Junior Dragon Ball. This is a real thing I'm
All
doing.
right. I do really like Earth Ball 7 just as a splash card index as a
Yeah.
combat ender.
Right.
Yeah, it's totally okay for that, and it's cool
that's right,
for
the parent
Yeah, I like it.
Especially because a lot of decks don't necessarily want to play
Oh,
Namek
this
7.
this was my question to
Right,
Dustin
yeah.
earlier.
And it doesn't
if
hurt to get
there's
captured.
because there are
Right.
cards that don't allow you to play effects that end the game
End
or end
combat.
combat, whatever.
This
Right.
card should not be affected by.
Does-
It's a parenthetical, so anything that says affects can't end
Ah.
combat won't
Oh,
work
yeah,
on
yeah.
this.
That's so like.
That's just how parentheticals
I
are.
know,
That's just a
but,
weird
like,
parenthetical thing.
I didn't 100%
I-
understand when you said that earlier, so I,
I
wanted
think
to ask again.
cards that say cards that end combat can't be played still affect this.
Yes.
That's what I because it's
Yeah,
like
so if
because
you-
you're playing it and then ending
It's
combat.
right,
Card
it's still a
itself is
card
still
that
ending
ends
How
combat.
is like Blue Battle Drill worded? Do you know?
I think that's
Cards that end combat cannot be played
So
or
you
used.
literally can't play Earth 7
Okay.
if Blue Battle Drill's in play. But you can still place it into play.
right.
Right.
So,
but
Yeah.
that's play it, so no.
right. You wouldn't be able to play it for
And you
free.
would if you're placing it, you're not using that anyway.
It's
because
sort of like Breakthrough Drill and Old Z with,
Right.
with Earth 7. Like,
a
I
lot
can't
like
ball
that,
out
yeah.
because
Right.
Breakthrough Drill's in play.
Oh, that's funny.
But except no one uses Blue Battle Drill.
But yeah,
Or should they?
yeah, like Kyle said, I like this card a lot as like a theoretical, just like splash into
Put
the
it in
random
your
decks.
Tau decks.
Sure.
And the best thing about that is again like what you guys already pointed out, the fact that this one isn't a liability whatsoever if it just
Yeah.
randomly gets captured, like
Whoops.
it just doesn't matter, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that card's okay.
but if your opponent is using the Namek balls, they capture this, they can play a Namekian Dragon Ball.
Place into play.
Well, but still, like,
It might not help them any.
I don't
Or
know.
It could.
I mean, balls are resources and restored while they're in your hand. So, like, just dropping one
I
back
don't know.
on the table.
I don't know. I didn't say
It
Namekian.
could
If
allow
they're
them
using
to put a Namek
Namekian
1
balls,
in play to protect the
Which
other
is-
balls
yeah.
they've stolen from you.
It's kind of fine.
like that one.
But yeah.
I didn't say
I like-
you were
I like it.
Namekian.
Maybe.
You're using Namekian
I mean,
balls.
Sure, those
I'm
things
just
would happen
saying
once in a while.
they had because it doesn't say Earth balls. It
Right.
just says Dragon Ball. Just saying.
That card's okay.
Yeah, I like it.
Those are the Earth balls.
On the whole, I don't hate them as a set, maybe as much as I did the first couple times I read them. They definitely aren't as ubiquitous or not. That's really not the
Big
word.
swinging.
Yeah, they're not as flashy as the Namek Dragon Balls. I don't think they're going to see
They're
as
not
much
as versatile
use.
either.
The
They're not as
Namek Dragon
versatile,
Balls
right.
are closer to like the Goku MP stack of Dragon
Yeah.
Balls.
Yeah.
That are just
They kinda help
generically
you.
more powerful.
They
The
just
Earth-
always help you.
The Earth Dragon Balls aren't going to see as
We're
much
always
use,
friends.
but I think for a pure Dragon Ball deck, I still think they're maybe a little better.
Yeah, and
even having lost Earth. Or
I
Namek
agree.
Dragon
There's
Ball
one or two things that we've already called out that I specifically
Yeah, I think we
dislike
more or
about
less
them,
called it
but
all.
when seeing them in the context of the whole set, I'm much more okay with them than like just seeing them in a vacuum when we hadn't seen most of the cards that were
Right.
out yet. I was like, man, that's.
My favorite thing about them as just a set that's less versatile than the Namek ones is that it means that other people aren't going to be using
Yeah.
them. So if you're a pure Dragon Ball deck and you're using these, you're not going to have to
Right,
fight
you don't
over
have to
Dragon
compete
Balls.
for.
And you're not going to have to worry about yours getting banished as often.
I really wish we'd gotten this set first. If this had been the ball set
Yeah,
from set
totally.
1, that would have been
Yeah,
awesome.
the game would be very
Right.
Yeah.
couple years of different things
Yeah, I'm
happening.
saying that there's a lot to wrap around my head.
Right, that's
with that suggestion.
real
but
tangent,
I
but-
feel like it's right. Like that just feels good when you say it out loud.
How would Devious Krillin have fared if these were the Dragon Balls?
Right.
Oh man.
People,
thought
if they had
experiment.
literally been
So many
switched, people
discs
would
not
be
reused.
losing their minds.
Right, Namek
About
7 would be previewed.
That's
We'd be
true.
like, what the I
But
need
I think-
sending Richie an angry bomb.
But we're at the point of the game where maybe that's okay.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
agree.
Indeed.
I'm just thinking of the backlash from those
Cosmic
cards.
backlash.
And
Whoa.
Let's talk
Go
about
on.
Baba.
let's
Talk
talk
about
about
Backlash.
This card was clarified. So the reveal it causes in terms of its interaction with effects that trigger on reveal is when Baba comes into play. So if you draw like a Saiyan Tantrum, it isn't considered revealed when you draw it. But if you play Baba and you have one already in your hand, it's considered revealed at that time.
I mean,
The-
isn't it the same as like Ginyu Ally?
Well, I was
and,
going
like,
to ask if
it-
that
it's-
ruling
Like,
applies to
mental
Captain
drill?
Ginyu Ally or Blue Metal Drill.
It does apply to both of those
Okay.
as well.
That's. I mean,
So
like,
it
why
changes-
was that a question though?
Well, it changes
Well,
the
I
ways
don't-
those used to function.
Yeah, they. This is kind of a
New
renege a little
territory.
bit on.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess.
So
I-
last set with Red Inferno
Right.
and like Ginyu Ally, you could theoretically have
Crick, 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 crick.
done a ton of crits, but nobody really stumbled onto it until Baba was shown off for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
So they visited that. They didn't want you to be able to have Red Inferno and Baba in play and crit 3 times every time
Right.
you drew.
Mm.
Yeah, because the question became, do you crit once for drawing your hand, or do you crit once for every card you draw?
And I'm
Now
I'm
it's
super
zero.
on.
Right
Yeah,
now
I'm,
it's zero. Way to
I'm
ask,
super on
idiots.
board with the clarification that they settled
I'll
on.
live with
Yeah, I'm
Like-
happy about it.
It is much more in the spirit of what the card I feel like was intended to do.
Right.
Like I don't think it was supposed to be some weird like fucked up crit engine with a handful of other cards.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree.
it's just a symmetrical blue mental drill.
Yep.
So I love this card anyway. If for
Yeah.
nothing else, then it's just almost a direct reprint of Majin Buu's New House, which is
Right.
one of my favorite old cards.
Yeah.
And,
No.
and something a lot of players probably didn't realize.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I really like it as like a mid to late combat tutor
Sure.
to kind of reevaluate the situation of what the next turn might be like or something. Like I don't know, like it's just I think it's a little more like you can play that symmetrical reveal to your advantage a little more often than you might be able to with like a mental drill or
Yeah,
whatever.
I think you
because-
have to have the deck for it. With this, if you have like either like a Goku 4 or Gohan 2, you have
Yeah,
you have
exactly.
access to a lot of different cards. Then this lets you make the right choice,
Right.
which was the strength of old Majin Buu's New House as well.
I was going to say the same thing. The MPs that would want to use Baba are going to be the characters who can tutor and they can take advantage of the knowledge that it gives you more than your opponent will often be
You
able
can
to.
react on the fly, basically.
Yep.
It's
I
a
like
cool
it.
card. Jimmy Firecracker.
The character I didn't know had a name.
Right, yeah, same
Exactly.
thing. I had to Google when
We
they
all
put up,
did.
when they put up the name on the blog. I was like, who? And then Google showed me who it was.
May as well be a Hercule named card.
I was just
And-
saying,
and-
it doesn't
just about-
it. I don't hate it as a play it as an ally as a block. It definitely is like no Goldo by any sense, but
Right.
just as a free block when you want it.
I would
As like tag Gohan or something, I could see it.
If it were something that would consistently have access to his allies, because it would
Right.
function.
And consistently be able to get to 2
Yeah.
or close to 0.
Yeah.
It would function similarly to like a blue blockade.
Yeah.
as a Hercule name card, I like it a ton.
It's pretty cool,
Yeah,
especially
well,
with
obviously,
his name
as a
card.
Hercule named card with the Hercule named card, it is
Yeah.
very good.
And like Kyle said, I like that the option's open, that you can use it for that block, just if you're another MP and you happen to be at 0. So like I don't think that will happen often.
Roshi
But
shuffles.
Yeah, but it's cool that it can do that. That's all right. Yeah, he's okay.
He's all right.
He works with that other Hercule name card
Yeah.
Yep.
really, really well.
He'll see more play than 0.
I like Ox King
Ox
a
King
lot.
clones.
I like Skux King a lot also.
He's super cool.
Um,
His parenthetical is cool, but even without it, I think he's definitely playable.
I
in
really
a
like
bunch
that it
of
has
decks.
both.
But
for
yeah.
sure.
And again, Goku and Gohan are among the 2 most likely to use him.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and I think that segmenting of his powers is on point. Like,
Yeah.
if the constant were exclusive to his family, I would be super pissed.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
But as it is, I really I love Ox King in all kinds of builds.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's basically just value added. In the Gokus and the Gohans of the world. But
Especially with the meta shaping up to probably have a lot of Vegeta and new Gokus. So old Gokus in tag or Gohan to the rescue into his new level 2 in tag both don't have really any modifiers. So taking away the modifiers the decks lean on is a big deal.
yeah, I don't know. It's just like it's Ox King is maybe one of my favorite cards in the set.
Yeah.
It's one of
It
the
does
only
something very unique.
Yeah, and it's one of the only cards that actually tamps the power of just raw damage, which is a thing that
Yeah.
I wish they kind of even had like 1 or 2 other cards that were sort of in that vein.
Right. It does a lot against Broly,
Yeah,
Sure does.
especially like Ruthless.
Yeah,
No.
I really like it. Ox King. Ox King is real cool.
His power level is 12.
Sick.
That's
He
pretty
goes
strong.
From 0 to 3. That's just
if
a
this
weird.
were set 2, it'd be I guess it'd be set 4 to play that with the old set 4 Goku level 1. Just every turn, Ox King, Ox King, Ox King.
Right? It's like Kami Ball, except you just reach
Reach
forever. Anyway,
It was a bad
Indeed.
deck then, and be a bad deck now.
yep.
Sure.
He's good.
Puar's
cool, too.
Puar's neat.
They also clarified Puar today.
Yeah.
Oh, right,
that was a
which is,
weird
again,
clarification,
I
kind
think
of.
the correct response.
Yeah.
But
If Puar copies an ally, it's as if Puar is that ally.
Yeah.
So, like, if he copies Chaozu and Chaozu says shuffle Chaozu into your deck, it would shuffle Puar
Okay.
into your deck.
and I think that reflects
that's
which
the
is
right
good.
play.
that ruling
That's how it should
reflects
be.
more on how Chaozu is like more poorly worded than maybe
Yes,
how
I agree.
Puar is.
All the
Chaozu
allies
should
work like
absolutely
that.
say shuffle itself into
Yeah,
your
shuffle
deck.
this card, shuffle itself. Because the other thing,
Lord
like,
Slug and
there
Dr.
was-
Wheelo, I think, have the same problem.
yeah, because
Yeah.
there was technically conjecture about Chaozu even without Puar.
Well, what
just
if my
thinking-
But those
opponent
are-
had
yeah,
a Chaozu?
exactly.
Exactly,
Like if you
exactly.
both players control Chaozu, can you shuffle
Well,
your
you wouldn't-
opponent's
I
Chaozu?
Anyway.
Slug and Wheelo wouldn't affect Puar.
No, it wouldn't
'cause
affect-
they're-
well, it
unless
could.
you're 16.
It could, because he can copy your
Alignment
opponent's
card.
allies.
16
Yes.
can't do that with allies.
Boo.
But yeah, Puar's
No.
They were really reaching
My
for a screen
tag
grab of
16.
Puar in this set.
Yep.
pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
I mean, he doesn't get much screen time.
No. Oh, Puar.
It's interesting to me that he can copy Yamcha's powers. Like, which ones would you want to copy besides his level 1?
His level 3, draw a card, lower 2 anger.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay.
That's totally viable. Like that is okay.
So wait.
And or like any of them. Yeah, just level 2 is the only one
So
that
it-
misses.
His level 4
Yeah.
is
It's just
a
an
decent
attack.
energy for 7 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
It would get the modifier to push it to 7.
So you'd be.
And it would cost
Copying the
nothing. Like,
MP?
I mean, it just doesn't cost anything.
What if you copied the Yamcha ally? What if you were Yamcha?
What? You can't.
Yeah,
Or you could copy your opponent's Yamcha ally,
Yes, you
I
could.
guess, if you're Yamcha and and your opponent
But why?
has a Yamcha.
It's
in
weird
play.
that you can just copy Yamcha's MP powers.
It's,
Is it
it's-
any
it's
power?
'cause
Is it the level
value
you're
added.
on? Like what?
It's the
yes,
level
it
you're
has
on.
to be the level
Okay.
you're on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't. Like,
That's where I
redo
was
the
confused.
stack
I was
and
like,
be
what?
like,
I'm gonna Yamcha 3 every turn all
Right.
game.
Okay.
that's whatever Yamcha's
Let's
current
go.
power
The
is.
thing that
Yeah.
sort of kills this for me is that it really isn't built to copy Yamcha's powers because you have to be either 0 or 1.
I mean, whatever. I don't hate that. Yamcha ally.
Yamcha's
is
an
a
energy
deck.
build anyway.
Yeah, but you're not going to just throw in Puar at that point, I don't think.
I am
Or-
if I'm blue.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I am.
I absolutely
would.
see Puar
so
like.
If you're going to lean into an ally build, sure, but I
Well,
don't
no,
think you're just
because
going to run
I
one
saw,
Puar.
like-
ally line.
I saw and in fact built like in
Yeah, I
set
had
5
a-
early on. I
I
had
had a
like a
Prot
Yamcha blue
Yamcha
ally
with
build
some-
that used
some
all the attack
buddies.
allies, and
Yeah,
even
that's
if,
fine.
Even if you don't just add Puar to that lineup, I could totally see like swapping maybe like either like Tien or Chaozu for Poor straight up.
I don't mind it with like 3 or 4 allies. It just seems weird to me that it doesn't really work with a one-off ally. It's the way some other companion allies do.
It's not just similar to the other people who have
Salsa or Marin.
Everyone's
so.
favorite.
Marin doesn't work even.
I really don't know what Marin
I
is.
agree that it's
I
maybe
always
thematically
choose the one I
inconsistent
always
relative to the
do.
way that they built other cards,
Yeah.
but honestly, I think that might
It's
be
a fine
little,
card power.
I think that might be a little
Yeah.
much if it did exactly this, and you could copy any of Yamcha's activated abilities.
Almost a reprint of Oolong from the old game.
They have similar abilities,
both
like in
went
the
to-
anime.
Right.
They both went to like the same school or something.
they?
like that?
Yes.
School of Animorphs.
Yeah, except Poir is better at it.
Animal.
Because Poir,
Really?
Poir graduated and Oolong didn't.
Huh.
So Poir has
Oolong's
like
a dropout.
Poir-
That
yeah.
explains a lot.
Poir has better
he went on to go
transformations, and Oolong
terrorize
can
a
only
village.
transform for like 5 minutes at a time or something.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm ashamed that I was able to
Well,
tell you
to
that.
be
glad.
to be fair, though, we did watch that section of Dragon Ball, like
that's true.
within the past year, just for fun.
Puar is twice as powerful as Ox King. no way!
It's kind
Bill,
of a
you
magical
touched on,
creature.
you know, you're right.
Immersion
This is all-
ruined.
Yo, he's 5 times stronger than Jimmy Firecracker.
I'm okay with that.
You firecracker.
I mean, if you wanted to really dive down a rabbit hole that no one should ever dive down,
Let's do it.
Oh God.
you would have to think it takes a significant amount of spiritual energy to transform into other things.
Right.
Probably.
For a
More so
near
than it
unlimited-
probably
How
is to
strong
be a
is
giant
Oolong?
dude.
What is Oolong's power level?
Oh,
I'm looking it
look it up. Look it up while
in
we
Panini.
move on to
Yeah.
This is important.
this
Yeah,
bad
we
black
can
card that I
move
don't
on.
like.
You guys
Black
can talk about
confinement.
There's a lot of words in this card that don't amount to much.
that. Sounds like a
Yeah.
set 3 card.
It sure does. It has 3 conditional effects that can destroy cards from your opponent's deck. And for some reason, it is banished after use. Again, I can't.
It maxes out at mill 3, which is not what you want from a setup.
And a million conditionals doesn't help with it.
No
I guess if
endurance.
you
There's just
sell
too
with
much-
that one Cell Junior, it would mill
Too much
6.
text.
I would have liked
Right.
this card a lot more as your opponent destroys 3 cards, just because I wouldn't have had to read it.
And in fact, again, I think they could totally print a setup
I-
that says destroy 3 cards, banish after use.
I will say that it combos with, I think,
Conflict.
Cell Junior
Oh,
ally
just
level 1, one of them, and whenever your opponent
cares?
builds,
Yes.
it builds +1. So then it would do
Yeah,
zero.
that's what.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I
what
was
I'm saying.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, I was too
No,
busy
that's-
reading it.
That's fine. Yeah, I know. No, it goes on for a while.
2 of the 3 conditions
I
can
had
be
to write a book
fulfilled just
report
by
on this
discarding,
card.
just by activating your
Right.
mastery.
Mm-hmm.
But getting anger and gaining stages will
That's
require a 3rd thing.
Yeah.
Not impossible.
Guys,
Well, don't use this card.
Oolong is twice as strong
Oh
as
man! Whoa!
Good
which
to
makes
know.
him 4 times as strong as Ox King.
Wasn't
No!
Ox King some like legendary fighter from his time?
I feel like that's
yeah.
that's the
he
case.
went to the turtle school, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
That
he
all
is an
sounds
old
right.
man,
Ah,
I
whatever.
guess. Anyway, Black
That's-
Confinement sucks.
These power levels.
Get it out.
Funimation really dropped the ball.
Yeah, that's
on this
right,
one.
man. That's a licensor
Come on.
issue. They should have come back and said, no, Poir cannot be like. Come on.
I don't like this card.
I don't like this card.
I wish
either.
it was just King Kai's new
I
house.
want to like this card.
I,
but
I, I do.
actually
I want to
don't.
like this card too. It reminds me of Orange, whatever drill. Your opponent empowered drill. Yeah. But it also banishes yourself. So
Yeah, but that effect is symmetrical, and also the weird planning step effect, which I
don't
like in
hate it.
theory. But
because it's a drill,
doesn't really do anything.
Right. You still lose the card out of your hand, so you can't enter it a tempo.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, you could drop a whole hand of useful setups that
And then
you
put your
apparently
opponent
drew
back a turn,
for-
basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that's not nothing.
Especially if they have smoothness drill in play.
Yeah, I want to
don't
like
it.
this card, but I just don't really see it. Like, it's too weird, I think, to see
Yeah.
like any kind of significant amount of play. But it is cool. Again, like I'll take it over just some like boring dishwatery like card that kind of does nothing and also does nothing unique. This one is at least weird.
Yeah.
And I would love to be proven wrong. Like if someone uses this card to dramatic effect and like wins a couple games or a tournament or something, like I like
That'd be
pivoting
real
off of
neat.
it in weird ways. Like I'm all about that. So
Black doesn't really have drill support either, so
Yep. Like I said
Again,
earlier, there's
no.
just no way to get it
Get it out.
other than draw it.
drills in non-orange are so hard to run now.
yeah, it's a little bit of a crapshoot, but
Woohoo.
I like where this card's heart was. Just
Sure.
doesn't quite execute. Black Left Burst.
I don't like this card at all.
Say this was another on the list of like really awful solutions for Hercule
Right.
loops, but now it doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
I didn't even like it at the time, but it's such a rare thing to have that happen in play where they have a Shattering Leap or a Double Strike.
Mm-hmm.
And then at that point, you're just kind of mitigating one attack, even if it hits right. And the attack itself is pretty vanilla, no endurance, no effect.
Yeah, I don't love it.
Yep.
Next. Blue Release Drill.
I do like this
This card's
card.
pretty cool.
Yeah, so that...
Like, what is going on in this image,
The
though? For, like, 1
parenthetical
second.
is decent.
It's a nice
It does
little
what it does.
bonus.
It's really annoying for clench decks,
Yeah.
and it'll reset the attach counts for unleash decks.
Sure.
And then the power is pretty
right, the
cool.
power.
it's just-
it has to have the drill power to really work for me,
Yeah,
and it
it's
does.
just, it's more blue anger tech that it needs
I like
without corrupt.
drills that raise your anger for some reason.
Yeah, and this one,
And
does
the
both.
versatility.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right,
Does
and you have
either
the
for
extra.
either player.
If you've got Smug Punch, it lowers their anger too.
Which
Which
is like no
super
joke.
cool.
Yeah, like that is on
Yeah,
point.
On the
Smug.
table, 2 anger tech.
Yeah, that they have to deal with, like that it will be every turn
Right,
unless
right.
they like take it out. Yeah,
Trap them on
no
Gohan
acquisition
level
drill.
2.
right. Yeah, exactly. A conditionless acquisition drill.
2 endurance.
Two
And
endurance.
it's got 2 endurance.
I like that card a lot.
I do too. I hope it finds a way into decks.
It's neat.
Give it a home.
Blue Tracking Beam.
There it
This
is.
card's a little overrated, I feel.
I
It is-
mean,
it's
a little
expensive.
costly.
And I like that it gives you 2 anger, obviously,
Yeah.
but the hit effect on it, I don't feel as strong as people
Yeah,
think
I
it
really-
is.
Yeah.
I
really
definitely
don't like
wouldn't
this
like
card,
it outside
actually.
of anger-centric builds.
Right.
Yeah, no.
And
I
again,
really
that's-
like the rejuvenate.
That's
on
part
it.
of the reason I don't like it. Like if this card were a different style, I
Sure.
feel like I would like it
Yeah,
a ton.
yeah.
This
Yeah,
were a
this would be a
sand
cool orange
card.
card.
This
Or
were
an
a
orange
Namekian
cord.
card.
Or
Or an orange
cord.
cord.
Or a red cord.
Maybe any other style than blue.
Pretty much,
cord.
yeah.
Even in blue though, I mean, if for a 5 life card based attack without any other real help, you consider do 2/3 5 life 2/3 rejuve. That's not nothing.
I mean, I mostly
You
just
have to get something out of the anger.
yeah. The
Yeah,
the
exactly. And that's hard
combination
to do.
is I still am not sold on blue anger. It is a concept, and
Yeah.
I like 3 stages is
That's
just
a lot.
it's not a small amount. to
That
pay
deck
for
has
a thing.
approximately 4 endurance
Right. None of those blue energies that give you anger have any endurance.
or attack really.
Yeah.
Glass
A lot of
all
them
do close
give-
to nothing.
A lot of them have the option of lowering your opponent's anger, but
Hey,
Yeah,
or
I don't-
raising your opponent's
I don't
anger
love
before
this
that.
card, but again,
this
it is
is
it
up
is
players.
unique.
it's
so
another
I'll
it's
take
another
that.
chip in the blue anger pile, which at some day is going to amount to something.
Who
maybe.
knows?
Yep.
We shall see. Yeah, it's all right. Don't love it. Don't hate
Hell
it.
yeah, this card owns.
There's a lot to read here, but most of it's good.
If you're-
Again, like
if you're slug or nail.
Yeah, exactly. If this card is
No, only
Not-
slug. It's villain.
not
Oh,
only.
this one's only
yeah,
slug.
this one's
Yeah,
villains
villains
only.
only.
This card is not a Lord Slug named card because they
Why
couldn't
does-
get images
Yeah,
from
right,
Lord
it's
Slug.
Lord
at
Slug
this
not
point.
in this block of episodes, but sells green.
This is a Dragon Radar from your hand,
Yeah.
which is awesome. Except it also has 4 endurance.
endurance.
And it has another effect.
You might use
So-
someday.
It's super, super cool.
Right, yeah,
Lord
right.
Slug.
Exactly. Like it's
It's
a three,
trash
it's a,
outside of that.
It's a 3
Yeah.
of Goku's Dragon
Well,
Ball
you
Quest
can't
that can't be
use
speared.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
exactly.
guess.
Yep.
You could use
You
it in
could
other
use,
decks.
but why would you?
Why
Yeah.
would you really want that effect?
This is
Attached to a
also the
Dragon Ball.
only other place where that old man shows up that's not an attack card.
Oh, yeah.
He's right there in the bottom corner.
The attach part of it is
Just saying.
pretty much garbage.
Yeah.
As mentioned earlier, it's an attach card and a setup. And if your opponent captures that Dragon Ball, they gain
They get
control
it,
of
sure.
the attach effect. Which probably won't help them, but it'll
Oh,
mean
boy.
you don't have it.
Yeah.
And
The power on this wasn't worth
Yeah.
the time it took to write it.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But the parenthetical makes it times 100.
Yeah, so it doesn't even matter. The
Yeah, I
parenthetical's
would say,
so good.
in fact, yeah, for the purposes that this card will be used for, it could have no printed
Right.
effects, and it would be, like it would be pretty much equivalent to what it does.
Yep.
Printed effect, reveal your hand. It wouldn't
you
be
go.
any different.
Printed
Yeah,
effect.
that's-
Lord, the
Lord
game.
Slug is coming back, and this is like half the reason why. We'll see
Sure.
the other
Yeah,
half
or
later.
more.
yeah.
Yeah.
That card is okay.
Give that
So good.
Slug deck like 6 Dragon Ball searches.
6 good Dragon
yes,
Ball searchers.
play Dragon Balls.
Yeah, and again, I would say that this card synergizes more with Namek balls than Earth balls, just because
Right.
Namek balls have more
You want
dramatic
to play those.
activated
Yeah.
effects.
Yeah.
If you're running Slug Earth Ball, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, that card's all right.
This
I like
card's
this card a
also
lot.
I
alright.
also really like this card. Like
Um,
restored Gohan with this,
Yep.
so good.
Yeah, it's easy to get that online, and it's just going to rejuve 2 and filter your hand every turn. all
Yep,
game.
it's really good with Cell's new stack.
Yep,
Like, you'll
I was gonna say
guarantee
the same thing.
the 2 rejuve basically every combat, which
yeah,
is neat.
Yeah, and it has endurance even.
And I like the way
Alright.
I like the way that the cycle works. Like I like its draw the card first.
Yeah, I like
so-
that too. The part I really love about it is if you're at the new Gohan level 2, you discard cross card to this, search your life deck, rejuvenate the cross card, and play a drill.
Yep, yeah.
That's perfect.
Yup.
That's so good.
I'll use Gohan's power to play a heritage drill.
Yep.
And tutor a card.
And draw a card, or you rejuvenate 2 and then draw a card.
The
when
activated
you use
power
it.
happens anytime you search, right?
You can only use it once.
Once
It is
per
just
turn,
once?
but you
Okay.
could activate it on any search.
Yes.
So you wouldn't
Right.
necessarily have to do it on the first
Gotcha.
one.
Right,
If
you
you
could
wanted
time
to
it.
try to sequence things weirdly.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Namekian's got a lot of cool drills now.
Yeah, and in fact, I was saying
This
we're
one
talking
puts 'em
about
over on
styles
drills.
that can run drills. Like
And it's all because of
cross
crossguard.
Right, you
guard
need
kind of
crossguard.
makes Namekian
Yeah.
the other style.
Without
that
it,
can
those
run
drills are all kind of bad.
Yeah. One card opened up so many possibilities.
for sure. Yeah, I love this card. It's really
Yeah.
cool.
Same.
Namekian Whack.
This card's
I
cool.
kind of like this
Whack.
card, yeah.
Built for the new cell stack, or knowledge, if whatever. Anyway,
Right, if
Yeah,
you're
so-
running Cell Unleashed, this is probably a much better attached card than the energy block.
backsmash or the energy block.
I don't hate
or-
backsmash.
or
Just
fist smash, or
make
whatever
your
it's
cell
called.
name
Sure.
cards.
Well, I mean,
It's
backslash
okay.
is contingent on like the other cell style or cell name card you want. Because I could
Right.
see builds of cell without draining attack. Like it doesn't seem likely, but I wouldn't call it implausible.
Sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely prefer it. Probably, yeah.
The
Unless
thing
you're
is,
like
if
energy
you're
block
using
line
this
is so
card,
thin.
it's not unlikely you'll be using cell style also.
Sure. Yeah, this card's
Use them
okay.
together.
It does.
I'm glad it's
literally-
a pretty big.
I say it does
Yeah.
literally the minimum amount of damage to
The-
make me take it seriously. Like
the-
if it
the
did
way-
even 6, I would be like bummed out by the
right.
amount of damage this
The
card
way
does.
both cell level 3s work, neither of them really do stage damage. I don't know if I like this card just in
the new
terms
cell
of the
3s
space
are
it
physical
takes up.
plus
Blue Cell
6.
3 is
Is
just
it
a
plus
meaty
6?
attack.
Yeah.
Alright.
Coming off of F.
Right.
Alright, you sold me.
He's pretty big. Yeah,
card's
and then
okay.
it would banish the top 5 cards of your opponent's
Right.
deck.
Right.
That's the meat of it.
Yeah, so I like it with the new cell stack. I'm not sure it'll be used in anything else until knowledge comes back. At which point
I would. Yeah, I
maybe.
kind of see this card
I
as
hope it
like
never comes back.
like a one of for weird attached
Yeah.
scenarios.
Yeah.
Like a Saiyan
Yeah.
Extreme Training is
Sure.
kind of where like is that the card that banishes when you gain anger from their discard pile, or what's that card called?
Well, that's strength.
Strength
Strength
test.
test.
Strength
Yeah,
test.
yeah.
Okay.
Strength test.
You know what
That's the card that I equate this with in my head.
You know what this combos with? Earth Dragon Ball 4. Think about it.
Oh boy.
and Dynamic Dragon Ball 7.
Indeed.
I was trying to make a point.
And with that, Orange Crying Drill.
This card's really good.
This card's
I
neat.
like it.
So you can start with it and play in Ret. It starts with an anger on the table. If your Trunks, the new Trunks level 1, you start with a level on the table.
Yeah.
Since this will give you 2 and Red will give you 4, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty neat.
And
If
it's
you're
good
Piccolo,
outside of
if you're
that.
Piccolo level 1, this card nets 2 anger.
Sure.
Yeah, right? For Roshi at level 2, it does too, because you can
Yeah.
get it with the Ret Mastery, use it to get anger, and then shuffle it back
Yeah,
to
I
another
like
anger.
this card a lot.
I do too.
And my favorite thing of like, I don't know. I
Parent
love,
Tentacle is
I love
so
everything
cool.
about it, kind of, but
Yeah.
like,
It's simple, but at the same time, it does a lot.
Right.
it is a strong candidate for the reusing a drill in the same turn
Yes.
with like weird
Get a
tutoring
drill.
effects.
Gain an anger.
Because
Right.
you could power next action, shuffle it, and then
Yeah.
potentially fish it out again.
Right, exactly.
And then do
and
the
then do it all
same
again.
Yeah.
thing.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
even if you just want to do it
Orange
for
Crying Joe
the
broken
power,
prisoner.
every red deck will now, you can play that whenever you change levels, and
Yeah.
it's basically you take an anger off of what you need every level.
It's like it's rampaging, except
Yeah.
also it gives you 2 anger every turn.
right, yeah. And the stage gain is cool for like if you sequence
Yeah.
your turn right, it's
Right.
almost like a second mastery in terms of like I might be able to do 2 attacks that I couldn't do this
Yeah.
turn due to
Right.
stage pressure just because this
absolutely.
card.
It's really cool
facilitated
that it has that option.
Yeah.
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 I like this card
Especially
a lot.
Yeah.
since you're leveling up so much that shuffling it into your deck's not actually hurting you.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's really good. I like it a lot.
It's good. Sorry,
Yep.
Chi-Chi.
Chi-Chi's sad,
Oh,
but
sad
no,
Chi.
these things happen.
Another
This
cool
card
orange
also
drill.
super cool, although
Yeah.
totally different.
Yeah, I mean, I like it less than the last one because
For
it's
sure.
it's
Yeah.
less versatile.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do like it. Like it's it's another cool option for like if you want to do pure aggro.
Right. That's a nice
Uh,
thing to have.
It's maybe an archetype.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You could definitely build a stage lock ret deck that just puts
Or
this drill into play.
you
and
also have hidden power drill out
Yeah.
and
both.
drain an ally off.
you could banish allies that way.
Sure.
Just think about it.
Whoa.
But if you a more realistic thing is just have hidden power drill, so that they cap at 5, and you're going to take away 3 of them every
Exactly.
turn.
Sure, yeah, you say yeah, exactly.
Right.
Like forget the ally part. This part combined with hidden power drill is a lot of stage pressure. That's
But then
on
they'd
the
also
table.
be like,
Yeah.
then they could use allies. If you,
You,
get them
you can
down.
make a lot happen if you guarantee your opponent has only 2 stages a turn to work with.
Right. And if you're Android 20, you both have hidden
Man.
power drill and drain them 3 stages automatically.
All right, that's
Sure.
the deck I'm going to
In fact, like you start the game in that state.
Guys,
yeah,
it's
right.
orange
And you can
one.
start with it and play.
Yep, and hidden power drill.
That's such an easy first turn enter.
That's real
and,
cool.
and you can reuse this if you level with Ret Mastery.
Yeah.
And if you're like Ret 13 or somebody else with a physical on level 1, that's even more stage pressure too. So It's really cool. I like
Guys,
this
we
card.
did it.
Yeah, that card is neat.
It solves the problem that Orange 20 or Stage Pressure 20 had. There's if you played Hidden Power Drill, you gave them the stages back.
Right.
Take them right back.
Oh,
away.
God.
Just kidding.
Get rid of them.
Nope.
No, that's cool.
So
I like that
sad.
card a lot.
Yeah.
Yep.
Orange Leaping Punch.
This card's okay.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
an orange attack with endurance.
That's right. I'm saying
Physical,
we
sure.
railed for long enough that like
The lobby worked.
They're finally making damaging orange physical attacks that have endurance.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them in this set. This
Picture-
one's not one of the better ones.
The
Yeah,
picture on
the
this
other
card
one I'm
is
thinking
also
of is
real
way better,
bad
but this
'cause it's
card's
like in
okay.
between frames. Like you can see Goku's head
in two
twice.
places at
and-
once.
Yeah,
Oh, it
and
is
in fact,
gross.
I hadn't noticed that.
the card that had this image from the original game, I feel like didn't quite look like that. So it was
right,
probably
it
a
was more
frame
on frame.
earlier or a frame
Yeah.
later.
Well,
But,
no, it's
you know,
in
it's one of
between
those
too.
things.
Like it's transitioning.
No, I mean like in the old game.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah.
So just to be sure, if you change levels, your drills are discarded, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yep.
Well, they really shuffle into your deck most of the time.
Well,
'cause
You
you're
can
probably right.
choose.
Yeah.
Just saying, if you get the draw card, you're gonna have to earn it.
Oh sure.
So
Yeah.
either your opponent's blowing up your stuff, or you're like the red conversation
Guys,
we
come
had.
on.
You're running a bunch of your own janky cards that blow up.
Yeah,
your
say you
opponents.
run that weird orange physical from set 3 that vanishes
And
them from
I
play.
think there
or
was a new
whatever.
one too. But
Woo.
yeah, I don't really like this
Right.
card. I'm glad there
Got
were
the
other.
endurance.
I'm glad there were other orange physicals to set that had endurance,
Yeah.
which we'll get to and praise.
Praise be unto them.
Yeah, this card's okay, but not amazing. Red Flourish.
I hope Red Enraged comes back. That's what this card is.
Yep.
'Cause otherwise, I don't love it.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going for here.
Throwing roses. That's what we're going.
I mean,
for.
the entry combat
It's
thing
like
is
a-
useful
yeah.
in period,
Yeah,
but yeah,
it's like a weird shoulder grab, but
it is like a weird shoulder grab.
yeah, I don't.
At least it's like not styled or non-styled.
True.
Like it's attack agnostic, so
Right.
you
But
can
it's
even
just
use it with
energies.
hero allies.
I wish it
for
had
a
some
million
other
crits.
some other hook to it.
Yeah.
Like, if your opponent skipped first action or you drew a card,
Or if it
something.
gave you an anger when entering.
yeah, had a couple endurance.
Endurance.
Yeah. Yeah, there were a lot of ways that this could have
Or
been
some way to
spicier.
filter it out of your hand if you draw it
Yeah.
defensively.
This card is by no means unusable, but like similar to like some of our complaints with blue anger cards, I just don't know that the archetype that this card would exist.
That's
in.
why I think it's unusable. Is I don't know what deck it's
Yeah,
for.
I don't think red energy is probably not a deck.
Red needs like 2 or 3 really good energies.
It needs a mastery too.
I like
be
the
honest.
I
The
like
new one's
Ascension.
okay. Yeah, the
for-
new one's
for red
all right
energy.
for that kind of thing.
Especially with Red Flourish.
Stages go a long way, man.
Yeah. This
Next.
beautiful image should have been on a different card.
Yeah, I'm
Anyway.
disappointed I'll never get to use this card.
Sure. Red scanning drill.
This card's weird.
This is like a set 2 card.
Yay.
Again, like weird,
He's so happy.
like contextless mill, I guess.
Yay.
Like that. Sure, that's
You
something.
can control it by lowering your own anger.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't have anything else to say about this card.
Nope.
Yeah, I would never
Yeah.
use that card in any deck.
that's what I would say.
this-
Gohan's kick.
Yeah, say this used to be Gohan's
Yeah,
kick,
wow.
and now it does something else.
It's all right.
It's not.
I don't know what build you have where you want to.
I feel like this card
Blow
is
your own stuff
unusable without endurance.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
then, it's like it's not a thing that I would put on my short list really, but it would like certainly.
It's hard to think of a context where you're running drills, setups, or allies, and
Right.
also want to gain 2 anger, and
And want
also
to get rid of
don't
them.
mind getting rid of them.
Yeah.
Like I
It's
way
asking too much.
I way prefer the sword card from set 4, even if you're
Yeah.
not running a sword themed deck.
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
it's almost the same card and it has 3 turns.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I do too.
Yeah, I don't love that card.
But it's such a cool card.
It is a good picture. Yeah,
Yeah,
Remember Gohan's
Next.
kicks.
this is a
Red
cool
Pummel.
picture too.
that is a really good picture.
Vegeta's getting his.
I'm pretty sure that that image was never on an old Z
This,
card.
this card was clarified today.
Ah.
So it's now at the end of combat, set your anger to 0
Okay.
because otherwise it
It
didn't.
literally
Literally
did not
have non-functioning effects.
Yeah.
So I actually have to read
the
it.
hit effect's actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
I feel like there is a tier 2.5 combo deck that uses this card in combination with all of those other cards that involve lowering your anger.
The red has a lot of good search options that don't have to wait till the end of the turn.
This card, if you were using cards that require you to lower their anger, most of them are a cost, so it would just prevent you from using
Yeah, I was
True.
gonna say.
because they're like lower your anger to do something.
Yeah.
Or like the forward stance drill or whatever.
I would like
Right.
this a lot more if it were not a hit effect.
Yeah.
Oh sure.
Yeah.
In fact, it's almost a little weird that it is, considering
Right.
that like it locks
still
your
have to
anger
pay
in
the
place.
cost.
Yeah, right. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a really weird card.
I understand if you're going for drills, you maybe don't care about your anger, but
Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't like it.
It's okay, I guess.
Go
3 life
in.
cards is a weird amount of damage.
Yeah.
Yes.
That Cell
It's a
Junior's
little on
getting
the low
owned,
side.
though. All right, this
Sand
is the
Quest.
card.
Here we go.
Clench your buttholes. Here it comes.
Basically, clench your
right.
butthole is the correct.
Hold on to your bowels, folks.
This card is an archetype,
Yep.
which
Slug
is
type.
basically only like on steroids.
Yeah.
It's
I don't even know if I want to talk about it so much just because
Yeah,
of how
I'm not
obvious
sure
it
either.
is.
Right, there's
this
no
card did
subtlety
not
or
need
nuance to
3
it
endurance.
whatsoever. Yeah, 100% agreed. Yeah, this card is where they maybe went wrong on giving a card endurance where it didn't need it.
It's the focal point of a deck.
I'll give it a lot of credit just for bringing back Napa Turles and the other one.
I don't think it brings back Napa.
Oh, that's right. This is not.
Well, I don't either.
Napa's
but-
some people's preferred mode of clenching.
they're
I
wrong.
disagree.
he's got the built-in 6 stage on level 1, and Vegeta ally with him is good.
Although, you know what? The kind of people who are into clench decks, I guess I can understand that.
I mean, they
The
can
knuckle dragging, slobbering idiots
Hey, Vegeta!
who just want to play all the attacks in their hand every turn for the highest numbers they can.
But they should still want to play Turles because you'll still get huge numbers at the double modifier, and they're unpreventable.
Raditz is the clever man.
Right, Raditz is the tricky one.
And Turles technically hits the hardest, and
Yes.
Napa is terrible. That's where I fell on
Napa is
it.
terrible. Is also where I fell on it.
But there, you're on notice.
Get got.
No, I don't know. This card's like you said, it makes an archetype, and I like cards that make archetypes.
I don't know if I
But
like
did this
this.
archetype need to exist?
Yes, like the
Yeah.
way this specifically
The way it
just feels
works.
like
This is the fastest path to 60 damage, I think, in the game now.
yeah, and it's just another weird like
It's gonna fuck
lightning
people
bolt
over.
in a bottle of
Uh-huh.
just like, oh, I can just get this first turn, and then I'm gonna hit you for like 40, like accidentally.
Why does this archetype need to exist when we still have Saiyan Broly?
Oh,
Right.
right, that
Like,
is a.
Yeah.
They completely do the same thing, just
They're different.
different ways.
I guess if you like looking
they're
at
both piles
Raditz a
of
little
attacks.
more.
I don't know. I'm curious how many people end up going for it because, like you said, it's lightning in a bottle, which also means sometimes it doesn't strike.
Right.
Sure.
Or you finally get it online and you get hit with a mule
Yeah.
kick.
do you-
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, if people are smart and actually run anti like attached
Right.
card tech, then
And-
it's like, oh, it was on for a phase.
And then your power is Nappa for 3
And
stages.
in that context, it kind of only exists to be this fucked up sucker
Right.
punch of like, oh, I just drew it first or second turn and you couldn't deal with it.
Right,
So.
exactly.
I'm curious to see who starts taking this to a tournament and also has consistent results within a tournament with it.
Yeah.
This is probably also one of the most talked about cards in this set.
Definitely. 'Cause the applications are obvious
Yeah.
and powerful.
Yep.
We'll see, but not
Digs
so-
for 20.
not sold on it. Although it is obviously incredibly powerful, just not sold on it in terms of like
Design,
should they even have
liking
made
it.
it?
Yeah.
Sure.
This card owns.
Here's right.
say
Another
this- the
very
other-
viable Saiyan
yeah.
physical block.
Yep.
And there again, there's not
And
a
glad
ton.
it doesn't have endurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, not a ton to say about it other than that. I'm both glad that it doesn't have endurance and glad it's banished after use.
Yep.
I think this card is exactly what it needs to be.
Yeah.
It's really good. It ties in with other things like thematically that Saiyan already does.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not like too powerful or too underpowered.
I
think it's
really
right
like it in dynamic just because you'll mostly guarantee that you'll have that
Right.
online.
Especially
sure.
early.
Yeah, and in fact, like that's a cool like other decks like orange and blue tag like other decks have things that like where they can pivot to being a little defensive early game.
Yeah.
This card you obviously still have to draw it, but
Right.
in
Gohan
that
2,
same
you
sense,
search for it every turn.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I like that card a lot.
Yeah.
It's neat.
You have meaningful defensive options at Saiyan now.
Also, just a thought on blocks in general that I was talking about earlier today. I'm pretty okay with blocks having a conditional 2-for-1, or even
Yeah.
an unconditional 2-for-1, just because I think being a block is a condition,
Right.
basically. So
Especially
cards
for
like
styles
this-
that can't filter them out.
Right, exactly. So I'm totally okay with a sort of weakish 2-for-1 like this that is going to help get through.
Yeah, you
this
can really
early
run.
onslaught.
You can really mess up a physical deck. Well, I Saiyan parry. You know, that's 2 attacks out of your hand.
Card is A-okay.
Yeah.
Saiyan Slap. A sword-themed Saiyan style card.
I mean,
weird.
Cell's arms are like swords, basically. Look at that.
I'm just impressed by his neck muscles.
Yeah, no kidding.
He's got quite an expression.
Vegeta's got a real bad case of whiplash here.
For sure.
Get
Poor
dead.
Vegeta.
I don't think spines are supposed to work like that.
Got hit
The only
pretty hard.
Legs.
part about this card that can inspire me is the image. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Right.
fine, I guess.
It's okay.
Otherwise,
Yeah, I think
but like,
Dynamic Trunks is a deck somebody's going to try, and I think this will be a good deck
The
for
thing
it.
is, if you're Dynamic Trunks, You want your sword cards in your banish zone so that you can rejuve them for his level.
I don't know how
1 or level
consistent
2.
his level 2 is going to be, so having them able to be rejuvenated is a nice option.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's all right.
The
Get
problem
out.
with that
I
deck
guess.
more as an archetype is that most of those sword cards are banished after use.
Get them back.
Well,
with
that's
level
what
2.
Trunks power is.
Well,
yeah,
you don't.
Trunks
That
level
has
2.
to be triggered by your opponent.
People perform physicals.
Yeah, even like pretty much
Right,
any deck
I
will
know.
perform a physical or 2 on accident. Like it's just gonna.
I
happen.
need to blue betrayal you.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway, this card's not great.
Yeah.
This card's got a super cool
I
image.
like how
Black
cool that
memories.
looks.
I have to read this one again. I think I've only seen it once.
Same here.
So it's got that devious thing going for it.
Faux
Oh yeah, the power on this card is super cool.
Oh yeah, that is.
The
Yeah!
power does not require you to control a setup or drill.
Right.
Because
It's,
they're separate
it's
things.
if you have one, you have to destroy
Yeah.
it.
Right.
But if your board is clear,
You just search your
that's right.
opponent's
Just go tuner for something
Take it.
rad.
And it can even be. You could even take like a visiting with
Yeah.
it. Like that is so cool.
So it'll pretty consistently hit something.
Yep.
I predict that this card will be responsible for at least 1 game loss when players pick up a setup that they did not own.
Oh yeah, they take it to
yeah.
the next
and then,
round.
Right, and then both players are simultaneously up and
Right.
down a card.
Yep. You're not wrong.
This is a really good card though.
Yeah, I'm glad it has the parenthetical it has too.
No, that card is really neat, and like Phil said, it wouldn't. I don't know if it would be unplayable, but I love the way it works. Like,
Yeah, it's worded very well.
yeah, it is constructed in a way that I really appreciate.
Uh-huh.
I like that card a lot. Black Annihilation.
Namekian Skybeam.
Sorry, Android 16.
He's getting owned pretty hard.
There's a decent amount of blood on this card. Or
It's
on his,
oil.
like,
If it's
I say,
coming
yeah,
out of an
he's not
android.
even a living thing, so it's just
it's red
red
enough.
lubricant.
It's red enough.
You're right.
Red lubricant would be an excellent card title. Set 8. Come on, guys. Let's do this.
So this has one of the weakest if destroyed from your life effects
Yeah.
for a black card. It's not bad. I'm glad it's there,
Yeah.
but it's not the type of thing like
If you're building destroyed from your life deck deck, it
Which
fills
you
out your
probably
lineup.
put it in, but
Yeah.
yeah.
It's got enough going for it outside of that you
Right.
can justify.
It's got the Dev Blow Banish. It's got 2 endurance, and I'm glad it has the hit effect.
It's a nice enough attack.
Yeah. If you're running the destroy cards from your deck. I would
Yeah,
use
I
this
don't know
card,
if it'll
but-
fit in conflict. Although 4 is the new magic number for conflict.
Sure.
True.
Yeah, this card is okay. I just don't think again,
It's not going to be the thing that pushes the meter for black
yeah,
conflict.
well,
I
and
don't
just
think.
like other cards you could run.
Right.
Like I don't think this is gonna be close to making the list in general, but
Mm-hmm.
like it doesn't seem like objectively useless. It's
Mm-hmm.
just like there's so many other options that
Yeah.
it's hard to find space. I don't know that this will, especially as a rare. Like this card,
Yeah.
it actually seems a little weird to me as a rare.
I hadn't realized we were into rares.
Yeah, apparently we are. Like flashback, we previewed this card.
Yes.
Ah.
Correct.
I like this card.
This card's pretty cool. Yeah.
Again, this is it's another card that competes in the field of like black has a ton of physical life card options.
Yeah.
But this one has a weird like pseudo unstoppability to it in certain circumstances.
And gives you information.
Right. I think that's the only case for it is it's just to make this attack unstoppable and look at your hand.
Yeah, and I like playing it that way as well. Like,
Yeah.
because one of the more obvious way probably is to play it as like your last thing when they have one card, just to know that it'll hit. But I really like playing.
That's
it
actually
early.
really interesting because if it's the last card in their hand, you might make them pass.
Sure. Well, no, that doesn't work.
Yeah,
it comes back at the
because it
beginning.
comes back before their next
All right,
action,
never mind.
so they still get to use that card. It literally just takes it out for their defensive phase.
If you used a Yamcha's Expertise or a Tao's Puzzles as a block, then you're generating an extra pass out of them. So you could use this and then get another action before your opponent gets
Right.
that card
Decide
back.
what you want to do.
Oh, sure.
Or
That's
before
really
they get
funny.
another
right?
action.
Yeah, because it wouldn't actually come back.
So you
until...
could use it and then you could swirl something in their hand
Sure.
immediately afterward, which would be really cool.
I don't see this card.
Although
getting
it
a ton
wouldn't
of
work
play.
with it would only work with skips that way, right? Not actual passes, because they would still.
Well, they would get the
action.
card back,
Yeah.
but they wouldn't get the action.
Right.
Because Expertise
Sure.
passes twice and Tao's passes on their next. Yeah.
I don't know how you generate a skip with this card also, but that would be a funny scenario.
Yeah.
But no, it's neat. Like,
It is neat.
Again, it's cool because it's unique.
Yeah.
We'll see if people choose to run it over some of the other options
Probably
that Black
not.
has for those slots, but it's neat. It's all right. It's a cool idea. Black strength
Rawr.
display. So this
Rock
is
I,
your,
smash.
I like this card.
this is your
Another
Black Devious Light. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And the power on it's not useless. Black needed a little bit of anger tech, and it puts itself back in your deck, and it does something else. So I don't totally hate this card. I wish it had endurance, though.
Yeah,
even
even
Yeah.
one endurance.
Right,
We've gone
yeah.
a long, long way.
I think the primary use for this is just going to be to trade a card with your mastery.
Yeah.
The rest of the effect, or it's not useless. Sometimes you'll need that 2 anger level.
Sure.
lowering,
I mean, I
but-
would say that it does enough that you can justify running it for that
Sure.
reason. Like, it does enough even when you're not just pitching it to trade the card that, like, it's probably okay to run a couple of these in a conflict deck.
You're right. 1 endurance though would have really been a nice little kick.
Cherry on.
Especially for
Cherry
something
on
that
top.
shuffles itself.
Yeah.
But yeah, that card's okay. It serves its purpose. Black
This
vehicle
card's
toss.
better.
This card's
Say-
funny looking.
Simulating the other part of Devious.
It's throwing
Yeah.
a helicopter like a football.
This is probably Black's
Oh,
best
yeah.
attach option.
Easily. It
Styled,
It is,
at
but
least.
it makes it funny if you're running Unleashed because
Right. You can't have.
You can never
one
double
one.
up right on
Yeah.
attached cards.
Yeah. And if you unleash for a second one, they both banish, and then you can't level up.
Good.
That's really good. Oh man.
So you have to supplement it with another attached card
Yeah.
that doesn't banish itself.
Sure.
Sorry, Black Extreme Blast or whatever. You still get used.
Black Android programming.
Yeah, I
Garbage.
can't see.
Good and Tau.
I can't see running this card in non-unleashed builds.
Yeah.
But it is a really great
Yeah.
unleashed target
Right.
For sure.
So for that reason, it's totally fine.
And
Like,
you control the banish effect on it, which is really interesting. So for the most part, it's just going to sit there and give you the modifier forever.
yeah, that card's a-okay.
So you can claw back Devious if you really want to.
Yeah,
right.
I
piece
mean,
it
if,
together.
if someone wall breaks you, then it goes away.
That's true.
That is true. If your opponent attaches a card onto you.
Fair enough.
Tau was-
Or anything
Don't
else.
on
Like
Ray.
there are like
Yeah.
I forget the
Android
people run
Armbreaker.
Wallbreaker
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
because it's in like one of my 15 decks.
Sure. Yeah, I still don't love. I already felt this way, but coming into this set, we'll talk about Blue Doze in just one fraction of a second.
This card bums me out.
I'm way higher on cards that just lower anger than
Yeah,
Wall
sure.
Breaker for
Yeah, I
anger
agree.
tech.
For a lot of reasons.
Yeah, Blue Doze is bad.
This is garbage.
I don't know if you build a blue training deck, you can
I
just
guess,
bomb right there instead of taking 20 phases to do it. You can just win on the spot.
But you have to use all of the blue trainings first.
yes.
That still takes like 4 phases
Right,
or
but
5
yeah.
phases.
It turns your victory condition from 4 or 5 phases.
and you
down
still have
from,
to
like,
have
20.
other boards.
The thing is,
just, like
if
kicking
you're-
around to be blown up.
If your opponent's not interacting with you
I
in
know,
the
I
first
know.
5 phases,
I
then what are the
appreciate
odds they're going to
I
after
appreciate the
that?
enthusiasm,
What if,
Kyle.
what if you're on a serious life deck count? You need to win right now.
It already takes
Remember-
5
There's
phases.
a lot of difference between 5 and 15.
Remember
really.
Blue Wash and how bad it is?
Yes.
This card's like a worse version of that. So, but it's got a good picture. I like watching King Kai sleep.
I'll say this about it. Ignore the second sentence, which is a you may. It does just destroy
I'd say, yeah,
setup.
that's
Sure,
fair enough.
okay.
Yeah, I'd
That's
say
something.
that's actually okay. Yeah,
All right.
using it as like a middling, like trading a setup for a setup is not
Right.
bad.
In blue, where you can tutor this, and this can also be filtered from your hand. So,
You play it again with that energy block.
yep.
Put it in your hand with that physical attack.
Or that drill that
Yeah.
plays it again from the discard pile.
Yeah. All right. I'm back on board.
That saves the card
for that
a lot.
reason. Thank you, Phil, for
what-
talking us off the ledge there.
What
Took a lot
looked
of
like
work.
the meat of the card is really not.
Sure. It's a card. It's like a robot in disguise.
Blue Train's bad
Transformer.
anyway.
Well, yeah, we talk about it a lot because it's fun.
Right, it's a funny deck, but
Yeah.
man.
This
Blue
card is
friendliness.
not
That
great.
cat is so stoked to be licking that robot.
Yep.
It's a bummer to me that a card that works with the master to play itself is still bad.
Yeah.
Symmetrical draw effects are not fun.
No.
Nope.
Although this card can build
being
your
a
blue
setup is
training
cool.
board from your hand with your mastery.
Uh-huh.
Just pile up those setups.
That's how you win.
And
Setups,
the
setups,
draw
setups.
is like an extra mill. It's just like,
Sure.
I took a life card.
If your opponent has 1 life card left, you can make
right.
him draw it.
Has
I
Like
don't
the
like
picture?
it.
I don't
It's
like
all right, I guess.
I do
Look at
like
that
the picture.
cat.
It's a cat, I guess.
Sure.
Most of a cat.
That cat should be an ally. You need multiple cat allies.
Does that cat have a name?
Repertoire.
If you have briefs in play.
Yep.
Attached to
anyway,
your Dr. Briefs, which is attached to your Vegeta.
blue elbow.
This card's pretty cool. I wish it had endurance, but I like it anyway.
Yeah. Attacks that pretty easily draw cards. Not bad.
Yep. The parenthetical on it's really weird.
It is really weird.
Yeah.
It feels super valuable, and then you sort of look at it and you're like, well, not really.
mean,
Yeah, you don't really
Protective.
benefit by putting
Uh-huh.
cards without endurance back on top of your
Yeah.
deck.
I mean, if you discard it in a way that's not your mastery,
Yeah.
and then you're guaranteed to have an attack when you draw this with your mastery, so that's not nothing.
Well, if the mastery is 2 sentences, you would just draw this. You would discard
It's
it.
not like it doesn't because the mastery works with Vegeta.
Is it 1 sentence?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With old Vegeta. I'm almost positive.
I'm gonna look it up
does.
Yeah, double check it so we're
Vegeta.
actually sure, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. It would be way cooler if it could draw itself.
But just 18 plus 4 and, pretty guaranteed a card draw. This will get
Hey,
played.
it's not a bad card.
I
by
don't
any
necessarily
means.
know if, stage beats Blue Resolute is good, but maybe.
I'm glad it's getting tools.
Yeah.
I always wanted to try Blue Broly, and this is the type of card that
I really hope that can be a deck. I suspect that when you sit down and you survey the
the
land,
pieces aren't there.
It's still a step away.
Yeah, exactly. It's not as good as Ruthless, so who cares?
Right.
Like that would be my suspicion.
kind of need
or
a
even
mastery.
or even probably just saying
It does something that
physical
neither
damage.
of those do, in that it gets blue knee and blue takedowns,
Right.
and has a
more
huge
tanky.
density of level drops, but it just doesn't have enough damage, and even the level drops don't always.
And it definitely doesn't have the
happen at the
upward
right time.
mobility of either
No.
red. I mean, it can. have
You
as
almost
much
have to run
range.
3 dominance, 3 unleash.
Yeah.
yeah, this card's okay, but not amazing. Blue Left Blast.
It's another neat card, very
Oh,
similar.
I guess there's
So yeah,
3 cards with Left Blast in the title. Of the set. Orange, black, and blue. I must have missed the blue one.
if
There's a lot.
in my 12-year-old self were still making virtual MP stacks, I would make a Ned Flanders pile that works with left cards.
Wasn't
There's other left is in a lot of
I'm
cards.
90%
Yeah.
certain that there was an old card that was like
That referenced
shuffle
left cards.
shuffle 6 cards with left in the title into your deck.
There were definitely Fusion Saga cards that did things.
Yeah.
Like that.
So that's Anyway,
I like this
card is deceptively bad.
Compared to the card we just read, I like that the prevention is symmetrical. It's not just the next time you
Yes.
prevent. It's
Yeah,
the next
that's
time
super
anyone
neat.
prevents. And in Resolute, at 5 life cards, it means it's either going to crit or trigger.
right? Yeah, exactly. You'll either draw the card before they get to do a thing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or it hits clean, which is also awesome.
But it's also expensive.
Yeah.
I'm also glad that the
The hit effect is so flexible though.
Yeah, exactly. I'm glad
Yeah.
it's raise or lower either player.
Yeah, I think I like this better than a lot of the other guaranteed anger cards because it's
can
it's
do
closer
that.
to being a guaranteed card draw
Right.
that
Yeah.
might also do the anger.
Yeah.
So this card's all right. It's better than some of those, but again, I'm
I
not
don't
sure
know.
if I like that archetype in theory. So
Right.
That's a big cost.
yeah, three is a lot. It's
Yep, sure
that's not a
is.
joke in terms of how much you need to pay for stuff.
Yay.
Punch.
Probably the go-to for blue attached cards.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that
Although
setup is cool.
Rebuke is really cute, really cool, but
Mm-hmm.
you're gonna probably want to run still some smug punches to supplement it.
Yeah, I can't imagine running one of those exclusively. Probably. I
Right,
mean, if you were gonna run just one, it would probably be Smug Punch. But
Right.
Rebuke is really cool. Also,
So this
Yeah.
really can generate a ton of anti-anger for blue,
Yeah.
it's a really neat card.
especially since you're gonna be running the blue drill. Whenever your opponent stops an attack, they lower an anger. This now
Lifting drill,
Lifting
sure.
drill.
Sure,
Lower
it's,
two
a-
anger.
anger.
it's very minor, and blue doesn't have that much rejuvenation options, so I don't think it would matter that much. But I would like it if this card were just discarded instead of
they change
banished.
levels.
Sure.
Yeah.
Again, I don't think it really matters, but it's just like one of those things.
It's not gonna stay in play for that long.
Yeah, it does the right
Usually.
amount of damage with new mastery.
Yeah.
It's in crit range, so that's.
I
pretty
don't
cool.
mind this card not having endurance.
Yeah,
right.
totally.
Attached
Feels
cards,
good.
I think, are fine without endurance.
Yep.
This card is A-okay. Namekian Barricade.
I will.
The other Namekian Omniblock.
I think
Right.
this card was designed basically perfectly.
Sure.
It's an Omni block, but it almost does nothing else.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It has no endurance, and even in a deck running Earth Dragon Balls, it's often not going to trigger the immediate effect.
It's smokescreen.
Yeah, kind of.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Or red stop, the way most people use it.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree. This card is absolutely okay. It does exactly the thing
Right.
it sets out to do. No more, no less.
Right.
So you'll have a meaningful option to play it, but maybe you'll want to lean into one of the better blocks with endurance
Right,
and effects.
exactly.
Yeah, and in fact, I don't think
I wouldn't use
you would
this
have to be
card.
very
Yes.
dedicated to the idea of Omni blocks. I think to run this
Right.
card because Namekian's other
Block
block
line's
options are
good.
so good.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
I
It's
mean,
there if you want it.
You don't see enhanced reflexes as a 2 of in every deck.
Yeah, exactly.
Not every deck.
Anyway,
It's good. It's
getting
not
more
great.
common.
this card's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this card's okay.
Namekian Fierce
I like
Punch.
this card.
I like it too. Yeah. Obviously, this is
It's
not a
right.
card you would splash in random decks.
It definitely serves a specific purpose.
Yep.
Right.
Still surprised that, sort of surprised that it's banish after use, especially
Yeah.
since
Yeah.
it can only capture Earth Balls.
Right.
Like,
Right.
It's
and,
not
and
like
the
you-
damage is so low.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a combo piece with Radiant. basically.
Yeah. And the
little
other
else.
effects that it. Yeah.
Yeah, but guarantee captures are good.
Yeah.
Like so, this does
Especially
that, and like you
Namekian
said,
actually didn't have a ton of those effects. They actually just take Dragon Balls.
right, and like you
Right,
said,
yeah.
with Radiant, it gets you closer to your buff or like locks you
Yeah.
into it, and guarantee captures are good. So that card is totally okay. And then I think the next one, was the
This is a
card
lot
that goes
better.
with it.
Yep. Yeah,
It's-
this card's super cool.
Yeah, it is. It's really neat. It's like a really weird pivot
Right,
on hit hurried quest.
It's
kind
a backwards hurried quest.
but it only requires the one ball, really.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That card's cool.
Yeah.
Again, it's contingent on Earth balls. So
The stronger problem with it is you need to want to use an Earth Dragon Ball again.
Right. Yeah.
You got
I think
Earth 3, Earth 2.
Yeah, 2 and 3 are going to be the most obvious choices. Occasionally, copying 5 might be a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for again probably the discard manipulation more than anything else.
Right.
But, yeah, this card's okay. And again, still
And
I'm
giving it
surprised
to them
that,
is cool.
Right.
Right, I'm really
it's fitting the
surprised
flavor of Earth Dragon Balls.
that both of these cards are banished after use.
Yeah.
It just
Yeah.
seems really
That's
strange
a
to
bummer.
me.
I'm all right with Inheritance, but yeah, especially
The other
the
one
capture
definitely shouldn't.
feels kind of weird.
But whatever. That's fine. I don't think it breaks the cards. It's just a little weird.
Kind of a bummer.
Namekian Surge.
This card's weird.
I have to read it again. Yeah. Oh,
It's
right.
alright.
And then it pivots a ball
Yeah.
out of play again.
I'm okay with it.
Yeah, that's okay.
The one cost, I think, is a nice...
Yeah, for sure.
bit
Like
that
it's
maybe
that's the
makes it a
cherry
little
on top
better,
for this
right.
card.
Right.
Yeah.
And the
2
2 endurance.
Yeah, that card's okay. It's competing again for space against a lot of like really good mid-range Namekian energies.
Right.
Right.
So that's this card's biggest failing, probably, if nothing else.
It's
but-
one more card that auto-tutors a ball if you wanted a speed ball deck where you could play 2 or 3 of these in a turn to just ball out before they leave
right.
play.
Yeah, you can win the game with your 7th ball on this card.
Yeah, because there's a couple of cards that do that now.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, that card's okay.
Speedball.
Definitely not unplayable, but not shocking either. Now we're talking
This card's
Namekian Thrust.
the other part of the slug love this set.
for sure. And this one also does work with Nail.
Yes, it does.
But even like taking all that aside, I don't hate this card just as a
I don't either.
energy for 6 with 4
Right.
endurance. Like,
And
that
that's
is
nice.
A-okay.
They could have made this card cost more, and I'm glad they didn't.
Yeah.
I agree, yeah. And especially like if it were even a stage more expensive, you would never use it out of the
Yeah.
context of those weaker
Then you would
MPs.
just... It would be
Or
slug
I could
only.
totally see splashing it into just like a cell or whatever. Just like it has huge endurance and does pretty big damage.
Like we said earlier, the Namekian, a lot of their attacks are banished, and they don't have a lot of endurance up till now. This solves both those problems.
Huzzah!
The
4 is a big number.
The conditional on the attach effect feels exactly right. Also, controlling 2 or more Dragon Balls. It's not impossible for your opponent to lower you a level, but they have to work for it.
That
For
just feels-
sure.
that just feels tailor-made for Lord Slug, too.
Yeah.
I agree. And in fact, even though like as someone who's liked running Namekian a lot, I like having this card be a little more open would have been cool to me personally. I think
Yeah.
they made the right choice in making the part of it where it can attach exclusive to those weaker MPs.
Yeah.
Because this would be an insane splash in Piccolo or Cell.
Right.
Even if you didn't get the attach effect just as Unleash fodder
Right.
to
yeah.
be attached.
4 endurance unleash fodder.
Yeah,
right.
With an alright.
With an alright attack. So I think this card works perfectly. I think it's designed just like exactly as it needs to be.
Agreed.
And it's really neat. Orange Affection Drill.
This card's okay.
It's a super weird
It's
pivot.
a weird
on-
possession drill.
Yeah, on possession drill.
Yeah.
It doesn't discard them, which in red is valuable since you don't have ways to get them back.
I keep thinking you're saying red, not ret.
I'm never gonna say the whole word. Too many syllables.
You can do it with one drill.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, that's the part I like about it, is that you don't have to have 2 drills to make it work.
this card's okay.
It's pretty simple. I don't love it. And again, it's sort of going back to if you're running the high-density drill decks, which probably aren't
yeah.
going to exist,
Yeah.
but...
I mean, I definitely don't like it as much as possession drill, just in general.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the slot it's competing for. So under that assumption, like maybe not super playable, but it's different enough. Like at least it's the unique.
I don't think I've seen this.
Orange Viewing Drill.
I don't
Maybe
like
you
it.
really want to run those high-density drill decks.
I say, this card absolutely fits into decks that would run quantities of drills that I don't think you can get away with.
Chelsea a lot more shocked.
I was
than
gonna say he
everyone
looks
else.
like he's
Yeah.
fucking seen some shit.
I mean,
Like everyone else is relatively
He's died a
calm,
couple
and then
times at this
Chaozu's just
point.
like,
Maybe he's
Dude.
foreseeing the Cell Juniors attacking.
That
him.
unicorn is eating that rainbow.
like,
Is this for
What?
real? Is this real life?
It's like Orange Gathering, the sequel, in terms of
Right,
card
the
image,
card
at
image.
least.
But also Trunks was there.
So Trunks was there. Correct.
I
Not
don't
angry
really, I don't
on any
really
of
like
those.
this card.
No.
Yeah, I don't either.
Trunks is always
Orange
in.
Aggression.
I do kind of like this card.
This one's okay.
A hero's only card. My God, feels
Right.
feels like it's been so long.
I like that, just random splash on things.
Yeah, it has endurance and gives you anger as an immediate effect.
Yep.
And
There's
it
There's
only
a lot
costs
of,
one.
and it's a lot I like about it.
It's a weird
it's a real-
reverse Bulma kind of.
Eh.
Yeah. So the interesting thing about this card, you have to attach it to something. So if your opponent doesn't have anything in play and you've got a VTP, you are
Right.
killing.
Right,
your
you're putting it
VTP.
on there.
I
and-
wish it had more targets.
Yeah, because there aren't that many colorless, especially drills. No colorless drills see any play.
I wish it could target allies. Just
Yeah.
apropos of nothing. It would just be
Whoa.
cool if it could do that.
It would be a lot better if it could target allies.
But yeah, this card's okay. I would even say that this card could maybe do 5 damage.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
it's fine as is too, I guess. Like
If you
also, I wonder why it's heroes only. Like just
'Cause it's
because.
Mhm.
I don't know. There's is there a thing that villains could do with it that would be fucked up, or is it
No.
just like this
20
card is
can't
heroes
use
only?
it? I
Why
don't
not?
know.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
There's
Take
a
that,
there's a
Reddits.
loose theme of orange heroes only attacks now, energy attacks.
And that weird setup that is in the starter, I think. It's an orange heroes only setup that lets you reveal your hand and do +2 life cards of damage
Oh, yeah,
on all
yeah,
your
yeah.
attacks.
Yeah.
Maybe just style attacks? I forget.
Spotlight or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's got a really fucked up picture of Gohan on it.
right?
Anyway.
This card's okay. It
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
inspire awe in any way. Like, whatever. It's fine.
This
Orange
is
Collision.
this is the good
winner.
physical.
Yeah.
And there's even another one that's like
Yeah,
also
yeah,
really
right.
good.
Yeah.
But this card is A-okay.
Right. This card does it all.
Pretty much. It's very simple, but it's very good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, yeah, this card is alright. Like, it's a start. For Orange Fizz Beats,
Orange
for
needs
sure.
4 or 5 more cards.
I'm really
Right.
glad that it has the splash of anger on it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
me too.
Like all the quantities, the amount of damage it does, the anger, the amount of endurance it has, and the hit effects.
Everything's pretty much.
It's a very simple card that is also, I think, really well balanced.
Yep.
I like all the numbers that it has.
Agreed.
Yeah, that card is okay. Orange Knee
This is
Strike.
the other
There's the
one.
other one.
Yeah.
So instead of giving you anger, it's a buttload of anger tech, and it
Which
has
Orange
even
really
more
needed.
endurance.
Yep,
Yeah, it
really
does.
hard to block.
Especially Orange Physical.
Yes.
And that combination is perfect. I love the fact that it's hard to defend against, and the hit effect stuffs anger.
Yep.
Like
Also, it's the meatiest Orange Physical now. I don't think there was an Orange
I-
Physical for +5.
I think you're right.
Yeah. There's one that did 7 that couldn't be modified.
Yeah.
Yep. Although it did have 2 endurance.
Did have 2
it was like the
endurance.
only viable endurance
Right.
option pre this set almost
Yeah.
for Orange physical attacks.
Yeah, that last card plus this card is a pretty good start to a core of an Orange Physical deck. Still needs at least probably 1 or 2 more
Yeah.
good similar
Like
physicals.
a real signature attack.
Sure.
Yeah, something that, yeah.
But yeah, that card is okay. I like
Yeah,
it a
I
lot.
like
I'm
it.
really glad that it exists.
So meaty.
Like that old guy though. He's really growing on me.
How many cards have 3 numbers on them that are at least 3?
Probably quite a few.
Yeah.
3 endurance, 3 anger, and 5 stages.
There's some black attacks.
And
and
maybe
life
3s
cards.
in the card number.
This card costs 4 stages.
Yeah, that card's
I'm
neat.
at 3 positive.
I'm pretty sure I hate this card, but I have to read it again to be
I
sure
agree
to be
with you.
certain.
It's like I wanted to like it the first time I read it, and then the more you mold it over, you're like, this is garbage.
I mean, it might even not even be garbage, but it's just like
It's nothing.
it's conditional and like kind of fluffy.
Yeah.
At least it has endurance.
Red has
Like,
a lot of cards like that too. They're just kind
I
of
don't
cycling
think
through a bunch
Red
of cards
doesn't really
without
have
getting
too
anywhere.
many cards that banish from hand, though, does it? Like, or that matter if you banish them from
There's a
hand.
couple, I think.
I don't know if there are any.
Maybe not.
Because, well, I know
I mean, the-
you might be thinking of like the
Right.
Ascension
Red
was
Collision.
The
banished
super
from top of
scariest,
death.
the scariest thing
but-
this card could possibly do is return a double attack from your discard to your hand
Right.
when your opponent hits you for only stages.
Oh,
So listen to that
yeah.
sentence and then like think of how often like it's just such a conditional one note thing.
Yeah.
Like I guess the secondary cycling effect is cool too, but
Also, this card is Red Awakening, and the set is Awakening.
Whoa.
you did
And
it.
it's got Gohan on it.
Gohan, who's awakening.
Exactly.
Gohan is being awakened.
This is the card of the set.
A bird is about to appear on screen.
Music serenades us in the background.
Indeed.
16 died.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I
did
don't.
he ever live?
I don't like it
Maybe
personally.
not.
I don't like it personally, but I could see
I don't
some
like it
people
either.
playing it.
I would
Yeah.
I would like having it in my hands because please hit me with damage. I want all these options and just to unfold in front of me.
Sure,
But
I
it
mean,
just-
that
it definitely
thing-
makes game plans very difficult because you don't know what you're going to battle with.
Yeah, that thing is sort of what Ruthless already does.
Yeah,
except I guess this
exactly,
can
yeah.
suck up blocks and
More
stuff too.
ruthless.
But I don't know. It's a really weird card.
You could use it to do an interesting little combo like that. It's like, I want my top card now, and then I'll Ruthless the second from the top card. But it's all just subjective on what happens randomly out of your control.
What did you peel off?
It's a card that doesn't actually do anything.
Right, and you don't net anything out of it.
Anyway.
Sure. Red clock. There's no clock on this card.
This card's cool in Trunks. And not cool in not Trunks. That's all.
I don't even know if it's cool in Trunks.
A critical as an immediate effect on an AT+3 is pretty cool. It's way better than like a knee lift.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Damage-wise,
better than
yeah,
you
I
lift.
get that. I think I agree with Kyle.
Depending
I think
on
what
what-
Kyle's getting at is that
What
like,
your game plan is going to be in like a red Trunks is anger, and this is
Well,
one anger
I
on
meant
hit.
like a ruthless sword deck.
Sure.
Right.
Does that exist?
Probably.
but even
I
building
do
that
like
deck.
Trunks level 3, the old one.
Yeah, even building that deck, you have so many other viable cards that I just feel like
Sure.
once you piled them all up in front of you, this one would get cut.
And
And this one doesn't have sword in the title.
And it feels like it needed endurance.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But I don't love it. Red Mischief.
Ah, so many
Text.
words.
Yeah, like why did getting it down with wire and they just want us to read so many things.
Conditional on your opponent doing things.
Twice.
I love that. If you
If
use
they-
your mastery as Ascension, gain an anger.
Yeah.
This card sucks.
If they used a crit to lower your anger, gain 2 anger.
Right.
Nah.
No.
Yeah, I agree. Next, Red Pound.
Damn,
I like this one.
Goku's getting owned.
Yeah, that's a brutal image.
That was late in that fight.
Yeah, no kidding.
There's some definite brutality in old Z8 points.
So if you've crit, this gives you 2 anger as an immediate, which
Right.
is pretty cool.
And the unmodified thing is actually pretty neat.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, for
there aren't
Ascension,
nearly
that's
as many
awesome.
things that
I think-
modify stages as there are that modify life cards, but
It definitely it's trying to put it more towards the anger builds than the
Yeah,
ruthless
yeah.
build.
This is an Ascension card all day.
But eight's not nothing to
yeah,
laugh
eight's,
at.
eight's
That's a
totally
number.
all right. It doesn't necessarily need to be buffed to be worth throwing out there for
Early
that
game
amount
for
of
Red
damage.
Ruthless, you'd love to do 8 at stages with any attack.
Yeah, that card is cool. That card should see play.
For any MP that can gain stages on its own, it'd fit real nice on Ruthless.
Sure.
Sell.
Vegeta level 2. Sure, there's other.
Maybe another one.
And a lot of things in Ascension.
Probably.
Yeah. Saiyan Anguish Drill.
This card's kind of cool.
Yeah, I like this card a lot.
Yeah.
It goes really well with that attack from earlier that can plop drills from your discard pile into play.
The thing I really like about this card is the last anger you can get even
Yeah,
if you're over
yes,
leveled.
that is
Which
also
not
my favorite
obvious
card.
the first time
Right,
you read
I
it.
didn't catch that the
Because
first
I
time
would
read
kind
it.
of hate this card if the whole thing was conditional. But the
Yeah.
fact that you can pretty much control that final line of anger, I really like.
So you effectively have a drill in play that can give you 2 anger, and I think that's really neat.
And
Reds.
I like that it has a conditional for both when you're low levels and high levels.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's always doing something.
Yeah, that card's cool.
It's well designed.
Yep.
It could have endurance, but I don't think it necessarily needs it.
0 endurance would have been nice.
Zero endurance.
Right.
Zero endurance would have owned. But we can't have everything. That card's cool. I don't
card's
think
bad.
Saiyan Despair is very cool.
Yeah. So rejuvenate from hand to gain 4 stages is nice to have as an option, but never the crux of a card. And the actual effect of the card is not much.
Bad stage loss and bad mills.
Symmetrical mill
Symmetrical mill. Gives you a shuffle.
gives you
That's
a shuffle.
probably the best thing this card does.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like it. Saiyan dies.
This is something.
It sure is.
It's only the second card in the game to have the number 10 on it.
Third, at least.
What's the second one then?
True Power.
Oh, yeah, that's the one.
Broly's Face Smash.
Oh, all right. All right. Third.
I really like the secondary.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's really good.
And then also it can be a giant attack in Ruthless,
Yeah.
or it can tie into other weird cards.
Yeah, Rampage.
This is going to be the
Or Rampaging, excuse me.
The clench
bread,
card.
Right, the bread and butter combo for clench is
Physical for 22.
physicals for 22.
Yup, exactly.
TBZ.
That's right.
I do like it not in clench, just because
Yeah, it's a good card outside of it.
drop it for 10. That's all your stages.
And it's still just
And
it's
it,
an awesome
right, it has a
immediate
really
effect.
usable secondary
Yes,
effect.
this
or
card's
actual
almost a
effect.
staple in Saiyan decks.
Sure. I don't know if Rampage don't run it.
You mean dynamic?
Rampaging? I don't. I mean,
Why would
dynamic,
I was gonna, why would any rampaging deck not use this?
because you have cards that gain you anger.
This card gains you anger and does 10
They
on
all
hit.
They all gain you anger.
I don't know. That also seems great.
When you said rampaging, you meant pure anger rampaging.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Fair enough.
If you were a straight MPPV deck, you might not run
And
it.
I kind of suspect that as people build Rampaging, they might find that 100% pure anger doesn't necessarily exist in that deck.
Maybe
Like
not.
it's worth probably having enough beatdown to.
Yeah, they'll have to start weighing on the scales how much do I have to compromise my anger to be a viable beatdown deck.
Sure, but the bottom line is this card's real good.
Yes.
I'm glad it does 4 life cards instead of 4 stages.
Yes, I totally agree.
Which would have been 8 in class.
I'm glad it has TN on
And
it.
it gives you options, so you can do the 11 stages or you can do the 4 life.
I think this is
Right,
the first,
and get the secondary
I think
effect.
this is the first
yeah.
card TN's been on.
Maybe.
In a while,
In a
sure.
bit.
That card's okay. Saiyan Energy Barrage.
Conditional on your opponent doing something.
Yep.
Pet peeve. That affects
Although
okay.
it's yes and no, because I mean, if you really want this card to be unstoppable, they're probably
You
going to
can
do
let
enough
their
damage.
attacks
You can
that,
eat
yeah,
the
exactly.
attack,
You
right.
can just choose to take enough to have a crit happen.
That sucks.
But it's still an energy.
It does suck, but it, like that, I like the fact that it's technically under your control. Because
If they
it
perform
read
an
differently,
attack for 5 or more.
if it said they had to use a critical damage effect, it wouldn't
Yes.
necessarily work.
I suppose.
The larger problem I have with the card is that it's still a high cost for 5 life card and can still be prevented.
Right, your opponent can just prevent it and you
Right.
get the crit and then you, yeah.
Fair enough.
Boo.
It does seem like it costs a bit. Like I
Yeah.
bet this would be okay.
And it doesn't really fit into any existing Saiyan archetype.
But I
That's true too.
I really appreciate how many arms Goku has.
That's
Yep.
a new one.
Agreed. Goku has.
This should have been Orange Goku's 5-hand focus.
Missed opportunity. Saiyan Face
This
Off.
card's neat. I'm not sure I like it as much as a lot of
Oh,
other
yeah,
people
this
do.
one.
Um,
I don't love it.
Yeah.
I don't hate it either. I think I would have respect for people running it, but I think ultimately the public opinion will be that this isn't really worth the space it takes up.
right. I kind of like it in Saiyan Broly, but I'm not sure I really like it in anything else. Or probably not in Clench either.
Does this card work with both of the old Vegetas?
Kyle and I both lean in to read it. It's your
Because
effect.
it's your
so
card,
I
right?
think,
Yeah,
I
would
the
think
answer
that
is
would
yes.
work, which is pretty cool
Yeah.
for a probably bad deck.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I mean, it's an attack that's also a stare down in that deck.
You'll still get that one stage reveal
and-
off of rampaging.
The hit effect on this is not bad.
No,
Especially it's effects then in combat, not card effects.
Sure.
So it does work on Yamcha's
Yeah,
rescue.
right.
Yeah.
this stupid game.
Um,
I wish it did a little more upfront damage.
maybe. Or give you anger or something.
3 is
Yeah.
like the minimum that it could do. Like if
Yeah,
it did
18
any
plus
less,
3.
it would be pretty underwhelming.
The reason I like it in Broly is probably you're entering on this and 3 other just physical attacks, and you can hit whatever their best block is. And if they hit one of your 3 Saiyan physical attacks, it's not really going to hurt you that much. And then you can Broly power and draw a
Right,
card.
and that's why I don't hate it in decks.
yeah.
Yeah,
But-
I like
We'll,
that
we'll
it's.
see where this card lands.
Yeah,
I think.
it's good. Like we'll find out how much people end up running it, but I think it's okay.
Hold on, I have
that-
to go to the bathroom.
I say I don't know why that's in there. That's an accident.
don't-
We already talked
Yeah,
about
we
that.
talked-
Okay.
Yes, we did.
Allied Blitz.
This card's cool.
I like this card less every time I look at it.
I like it.
I like it. I actually like it. I like it more every time I look at it from what it could theoretically do.
Right.
And I like it less in terms of how I think people will be able to build decks to take
Yeah,
advantage of it. Because, like I said,
yeah.
I don't see. I just
Where-
don't see the
where's
big
this
dump
dark-
of ally decks
No.
existing. So you kind of can't use it that way. But the first part is
Yeah.
like a totally viable thing. Like
Yeah, yeah.
the skips on energy attacks is legit.
If you're using this in a deck that gets its anger through energy, like a ret deck, you can sequence to get like an entire level without your opponent interacting with
Right.
it, which is really cool.
For sure.
And if you're someone like Vegeta, then you can end combat.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly. Vegeta or Yamcha, where you have like options to
If you set
end
that
the
up with an
combat
expert
after throwing out a
assistance,
bunch
yeah.
of
Right,
stuff.
exactly.
I mean, that's the dream
Unload
for
your
this card.
hand.
Is you expert assistance, allied blitz, boom, 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 I'm out.
The cool thing in Vegeta is you don't need anything on board. You just
Right.
go from 2 to 3, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I just performed 4 energies, and now the combat's over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this card is cool. I think it will
The
see
endurance
some
is
play,
great.
especially
Right.
like once people like kind of settle into the set a little bit.
Yeah.
And yeah, the endurance is a big fucking deal.
It's not as upfront or obvious either, though. So I think there will be a lot of people who don't even consider it or don't try it at first, but
It's no true power.
you'll see it on a deck list.
It's definitely not true power.
Although it works with True Power.
Oh.
That's like the 4th time we referenced True Power this
We're really
run.
obsessed with that card.
As we should be.
Anyway, assisted Kamehameha, we're back. I still am bummed out that this card exists. Again, not because I think it's destabilizing anyway. It's just really boring and really uninteresting.
My opinion on this, or my opinions of this card, have taken a weird path since it was revealed. I hated it up front, and then we started seeing more cards, like the first couple MPs, and they didn't necessarily, the decks didn't necessarily use Kamehameha, so I kind of like tempered it. It's like, all right, and if when Tau and Cell Jr. and somebody else, Hercule comes out, maybe they won't run that card. But then those decks were terrible, so you go back to Gohan and Goku and Vegeta still running that card, and I
I
kind
get
of
what
hate
you're
it more.
saying.
Yeah. Or Cell.
And in fact,
Or
Cell
Cell.
Juniors can use
Yeah, I
this
shouldn't
card,
have
but
said
Cell
Cell
Juniors are terrible.
My Cell Jr. Namekian Earth Dragon Ball deck will use this card, and it will always crit.
Fair enough.
Where are you getting your
I can't argue
modifier
with
What
that.
about
Earth
your
one.
your
Okay.
your
That's
ruthless ball triple threat Broly?
Same thing.
He's saying.
You have new mastery and Cell Junior's power and a 3rd card to get all 3 balls in play first combat.
It might be restored still.
I still just
I
hate,
haven't decided.
I still hate just the design on this card.
I 100%.
What it
It's
does
just-
to
yeah,
the
it's
game.
just-
It's
it's
just
just-
pushing damage.
Yeah,
Yeah,
with-
it's really good. People really use it. It'll be worth whatever it ends up being sold for. But
Well, unlike
Ox
like
King,
so boring.
Ox King.
well,
Ox
if
King.
you even just compare it to another one of the super expensive, super versatile ultra rares like Dig, like
yeah,
there's so much other
is way
utility.
cooler than
Yeah.
this.
Oh,
Yes.
no, that's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
comparing it to like Dig
Yeah,
or like
no, I agree
Unleashed
with
or
you.
something. There's so
Right.
much other utility, and it does so many. This is a fucking disc.
You're right.
That's all this is.
Why
It's
do we
all,
need more
like,
discs? Nobody likes disc.
My biggest problem with this card is what it does to the economy of the game right
That
now.
too.
Yes.
That's an excellent point.
So the game, as of this recording, launched today.
Yes.
Right, the new set. Yep.
Or
24 hours
the set.
Awakening is
and
out.
this card is selling for at least 150 each so far on Popos.
Yeah.
450 for a playset, and there are a
Monsters.
lot of MPs that want or need a
Right.
playset of this card. And yeah, not okay with that.
Yeah.
Decks were already kind of expensive coming from scratch. If you were a new player coming into this game right now, I don't know how you could see that
Yeah.
and
There's
be like,
6 ultra rares in this.
Right.
set.
Right.
That-
Yeah,
well,
so
that's
one
the other
ultra
part of
per
it,
case.
and also
one of each,
Yeah.
on average.
On
If you're
average.
and then
lucky.
also like just the sphere reprint. It's just watering that pool down
Right.
even more. It's just like
Because
Six-
one would
6 is about 4 too many ultra rares.
oh yeah. Well, it's
I
like
don't
with set
disagree.
4 when some of the ultra rares were fucking like alt art
Yeah.
MP.
At
level
least,
4s.
at least we don't have that situation on our
Yeah.
hand. Where
Right, all of
But
them.
it's still
Two of
just
the-
it's
two
a,
of them are
to a
useless.
similar effect. It's
Yeah.
just like
Right, there's definitely a break between assisted Kamehameha and the rest.
Sure.
Oh,
in
yeah.
terms
Exactly.
of Phil, in terms of what you're saying, in terms of non-gameplay making decisions, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Because the thing you would think that they were shooting for with reprinting spheres, which in turn raised the UR count on this set, was that we'll make these more available and
And they
possibly
did.
drive the prices down of that
Yeah.
card a little bit.
Right.
And it had the the corresponding effect of raising the prices of every unique ultra rare that is in this set.
Especially this one.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that part
well,
is definitely a
especially
bummer.
since they put it in the same bracket as before. Like if it had been literally anything else for spheres,
Sure.
Yeah, if
like
it was starter card.
it would have
or
been
whatever,
it
or
would have
Dragon
also made
Rare
it just
even.
more
Yeah,
accessible.
Spheres as a Dragon Rare would have been awesome.
Because keeping them as ultra rares, they're the same.
They're
it's
not
the
any
same
easier
thing.
to get than they were before.
If they would have made Ultra Rares one per box this set, it would have all been forgiven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, sure.
Just change the economy a little bit.
I
but,
agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, this card is.
And if Dustin, if they did that, you would still need to buy a case and a half
Right.
to
Well,
get
yeah,
a place
because
of
there's
this
so
card.
many.
No more cards like this,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It
I would
doesn't
be
have a choice.
more okay with it if it wasn't an ultra
If it,
rare.
if
I
it-
would be more okay with it. I still wouldn't like it.
I,
I mean, I wouldn't love it.
I
but
agree. I still
I wouldn't
stand
be mad
by
at it.
if it was one or effect or the other, and you got to pick.
Yeah, that would be so
If you got
interesting.
to make it either unstoppable or unpreventable when you performed it, this card would be really cool. And as
presents
is,
a
it's
choice.
just it's boring and requires no savvy.
Yeah.
Flurry of Blows.
This card's cool.
It's more interesting.
Yeah, it's fine. I really like that it
More,
costs 2.
all those
Like,
hands.
I could have
Goku's
seen
got
that.
even more hands
I
now.
actually thought it did cost 3, and it's.
I kind of did too until
Okay.
until I looked at it again. I was like,
I
oh,
reread it
good.
yesterday, and I was like, wait, really? Yeah, it feels pretty good at where it's at.
It's a very slight bargain at costing 2. At
Yeah.
costing 3, it's a little steep.
The fact that you can put it into unpreventable crit range is
Yeah.
pretty cool. Obviously, the cost is pretty steep, but for the versatility, I'm okay with it. And then the parenthetical effect is obviously a lot of the reason
it wouldn't
you would run
exist without it.
Sure.
Yeah.
And again, this card basically has something akin to the choice I would have wanted in Assisted Kamehameha. Like, that secondary of being able to make it unpreventable just on
Has
your
a
own.
cost and
That cost is a little high, but if you're running
I
a deck
agree.
with enough dead draws that you don't care,
Right.
Or, again, like, that's
or
all
you
game
just
state.
really need it.
That's all game state relevant,
Sure.
right? So if you're near the end of a game and you have a
Yeah.
flurry of blows, it's like, all right, we're doing this.
Boom, let's end this.
Let's
Yeah.
go for the
Boom,
kill.
boom, boom.
This
Get
card is
down.
A-okay.
It'll be interesting to see how many people end up running this card, just because
Yeah, I'm
it's
curious
mostly attack.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, and in fact, I still,
And I hate tech cards with no endurance.
yeah, I think this
But
card
this
is
card
okay.
doesn't. Yeah, it does
Right,
enough out of
it
hand.
does
that I'm okay
enough,
with it.
but we'll see.
I think the people saying that it's a staple are out of their fucking mind.
Yeah,
I
they
completely
are.
agree with that.
Because I've heard that opinion from multiple people,
That's
and it
nuts.
just doesn't read that way to
The
me.
same
but-
people saying General Tao is going to win Worlds.
So far, the market does not reflect that people think this is a staple because
Yeah.
this is about the same price as most of the other ultra rares this set that
Sure.
aren't Kamehameha.
Right.
For the Dragon Prix and the Last Chance qualifier, I feel like running this card's kind of stupid because I think most of the people there aren't even
They
going
won't
to have
have
assisted
Kamehameha.
Kamehameha.
Sure, I'll
right.
say, yeah.
So you're
At least-
attacking a card people literally aren't rich enough
at
to
least
have
in
yet.
terms of like in terms of plurality of the player base, like
Sure.
how many
Yeah,
people
yeah.
could even have them mathematically? How much product would need to be opened
How many
for like
cases
a
were in the
60-person
run?
tournament to have even half of those players have a full play set
Sure.
of Kamehamehas?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
The math on there is a little gross.
So we got spheres.
Spheres are cool. The images are pretty okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell they're sort of reaching for just a
Yeah.
sphere on a
it's
card.
a circle
Right.
on a
Right.
card. Let's go to the other sphere first.
I like
I
this
definitely
one.
like
is
this
neat.
one better than
Yeah.
the
This is
heroic one.
the
yeah.
best villain sphere image.
Maybe. I like the set one villain
I
sphere.
mean, yeah, the set one is totally
okay.
fine.
But slug.
The world
But
sphere
slug.
But
is not
slug.
as pretty as it should be.
But slug.
But
You know.
it fits well into Slug
And then
Restored.
I love that the next immediate set had so many cards with like people
Yeah,
in
so many
spheres
good
that they
spheres.
couldn't have
Right.
used because
There are
they
some
had to
great
use set 3.
images of Cell
Yeah.
in a sphere.
So funny.
And again, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I'm glad they reprinted spheres.
Yep.
But I wish they were Dragon Rares
Yeah.
or
And
distributed some other way.
Literally anything else.
Just so that the other ultra rares were more accessible.
or even like for like pre-release or like promos, like just
Sure.
if you want to get them, if you want to reprint them for people to use, get them out there and not the same way you did the first time. But whatever. What do I?
Yeah,
know?
I agree. That's the only other thing I was going to say. I'm glad they printed them again, but they kind of screwed up different parts of the game economy by
little bit.
reprinting them in this specific way.
right.
But it'll be interesting to see if they stay on this and reprint other ultra rares.
Right.
I would expect
with,
that
with
kind
Dig
of-
coming out in Worlds, there aren't that many valuable
Well,
ultra
that's
rares
Right.
left.
Just, we don't really need Visage again. Or
I would love to
Plan.
see Visage rotated out because that
Sure.
card is lame and boring, and
I'd be okay with
nobody runs heroic plan anyway, so
right.
no one will care
Yeah.
if that card leaves the game.
Either the set two
Heroic
ultra rares.
Assistance is still okay, but
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't need reprinted. I
Dig
think
is
like
really the only other one that you would want more of in the economy.
that's already being reprinted. I think Heroic Dashing Punch is going to see a lot of play this set.
I agree.
If
That
you're
card could use
if
a
you're
reprint
running the
someday.
stock market for this game, buy on Heroic Dashing Punch right now.
already did.
I know you did. I think we would talk about that.
Yep.
And then
That card's
speaking
insane
of
now.
set 2 ultra rares,
Right. Yeah.
this card is almost a set 2 ultra rare.
Yeah, this card bums me out for
I'm
a
not,
lot of reasons.
I'm not sure. Dustin and I talked about this earlier today. I'm not sure this is any better than Villainous Empowerment, other
Sure.
than that heroes can use it.
Mm-hmm.
Except that the meta has changed in such a way that it's obviously worse.
Yes.
Right, yeah,
just
like
for that reason.
people didn't run Villainous Empowerment in an environment where like it
was
would have
much more
done
usable.
stuff.
Right, exactly.
And then like people aren't going to run this because the environment doesn't
Yeah.
even necessarily dictate that, at least
Right.
right now.
even at peak, like red 40 setup stat deck or orange 20, people
Sure.
still didn't use Villainous Empowerment. Right now,
Although
most-
that card only shut off drills, so it didn't affect setups.
You know what I
Did,
would?
did it?
I thought
I might actually.
I think it
might be wrong
affected
about that.
setups.
I thought it was
Fine.
drills and stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I would really
It
love this
definitely didn't
card
affect allies
for a
but-
lot of reasons. Banish a card to draw 2 cards.
Yeah, like the fact
Plus,
that it doesn't
it would've been-
replace
That's
itself.
so perfect.
would have been champion
Yeah.
No.
Kyle,
That would have been beautiful.
sorry.
I'm angry that you're so correct. Like you couldn't be more correct.
Uh-huh.
I also do
Man.
just want to like The proportions on him look just so fucked up in this.
Yeah,
picture.
Well,
his
This
hand's
is an
doing a weird
awful
thing.
picture. Like,
This is like the DBZ picture.
yeah, but he
Yep.
looks terrible.
This is the picture.
I don't care.
Sorry, Lorraine. I have too much nostalgia to
Yeah, right,
understand where you're
exactly.
coming from.
If you've never held a champion drill in your hand and gazed
I mean,
longingly
I
at it for
have.
hours at a time,
He's got some.
Hours.
That's strange.
That's all I'll be
Y'all
able to think
need some
about.
it would
Oh.
make sense if you had one.
Yep. All I'll be able to think about is how
This
rich
is
you
where
are.
I'd put my champion.
Right.
This card is the it will certainly produce the most emotion, I would think, in
Right.
players who are serious about the game when they open like 6 boxes worth of product and this is the only ultra rare they pull.
Yeah, right.
Well, at least it's
Fist clenchingly angry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it would look
love
that
this
good with
card.
the foil pattern though. All the weird like
Yeah,
just
it's hard to say.
hard
Checkers or
edges.
whatever.
I don't know.
It definitely worked better with the Android Saga, but so did everything.
Right. Yeah.
Champion drill even managed to take it a tier above.
Yeah. So I'm glad this card has endurance. It really needed it. To continue the villainous empowerment sort of comparison, that card generated a drill out of your
Right.
deck,
Sure.
which even though it was turned
You
off,
could
was
use
still
that turn,
advantage.
but you
still-
would
You didn't-
persist.
Right, you didn't
presumably,
see it that often, but
after that.
taking like a smoothness drill with it or whatever was
Well,
always
it
a
was-
solid play.
Yeah.
Non-style?
You can
No,
take
you
it.
just take anything.
Okay, it was
Yeah.
just anything.
I
But
must not have
Nobody
read
used
it.
that card, so I don't
Right,
remember.
he didn't.
Even then, like,
But it was
yeah.
always like on the back burner. It's like I could use this and yeah.
So generating a drill, I think, was more valuable than
Yes.
filtering a card by banishing from your hand and the
Twice.
top
I
of
didn't
your
even.
deck.
I think I had to reread that. I was like,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
It's
The,
too,
the
wow.
cost is so high on that for no
for like
reason.
nothing.
Right, exactly.
Like
yeah,
what do
but
you?
yeah, the
what
fact that
are
it
you
punishes
gaining
you
from
out of the
this?
handful of scenarios where you could set up that draw, like you
Yeah.
could stag it with a ball 7 or.
And I feel like that's why it does that. Is
I'm
so
sure
that
it
you don't
does.
have
I'm
the-
sure it's intentional. I just don't know why.
Right.
I mean, it's called the ultimate sacrifice. Banish
Really want a
2/3
card.
of your remaining deck to draw a card.
Yeah, I'm totally with Kyle.
And in fact,
The
that part
banish to
doesn't.
draw
I
two-
guess that reading
Yeah,
the whole
oh, yeah.
card again, that part doesn't even make sense because
No,
it
it
shuffles your
shuffles.
life deck first.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Man.
I feel like this was designed to tech against decks that don't actually exist.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Like
True
this
Power.
is a good card to have in the game, but like we saw with Villainous Empowerment,
And True Power.
nobody needs it.
Right, yeah. There are
It
better...
exists as a check
Yeah.
for something that isn't a problem.
It feels divorced from the reality of the meta of
Yeah.
this game. And not just even right now, but how the
The
game has
history
always
of the
functioned.
game.
Yeah, exactly. Like we basically just already said. At any state of this game, I don't think this card was
No.
like really.
It
pulling
would be.
its
It
weight.
would have been one thing had this been introduced way earlier on.
This would have
Like,
been right.
then it would have been like, oh, I understand why.
Right,
they,
we-
like,
right, we
but
made
like
an educated
7
guess,
sets in, like
sure.
what?
This
Yeah,
would have
I
been a
get
very
that.
interesting set 1 card for the Ginyu matchup.
Fair enough.
Right. Yeah, I do like that it turns off allies, but I don't even think allies
Or
are
even
gonna
like
be
in
that
when,
popular.
an environment when like Orange 20 was running rampant, like
But even then, people had
Well, yeah,
access
oh,
to
yeah,
Villainous
oh,
Empowerment.
yeah.
and nobody
Oh,
used
yeah.
it.
And there was a lot of pretty strong drill tech cards that just people didn't
yeah.
go for.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to tech one specific deck with the way
Oh, yeah.
the game is designed.
And the card doesn't do enough outside of that.
Exactly.
In both
Sure.
cases.
Yeah.
But if it drew 2 cards,
Then it would be super cool.
Yep.
Eh,
Yeah.
we went out on a high
I
note.
say, yeah, that's it. And then I think that's all we got. Yep.
Oh.
We made it back around.
pew pew pew.
So yeah,
Sorry.
that's gonna do it. Overall, I like the set.
Yeah, it's a good set.
I can't wait to see what comes
Right.
out of it.
Masters.
The meta is crazy.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
really
these
excited
first-
for the first upfront explosion of creative decks.
Dragon Pre is gonna be
Me
nuts.
too.
Worlds is gonna be crazy. I can't wait to see what bubbles to the surface. And like I said, I would have felt.
Garlic.
I think just as intrinsic to the new cards is the Frozen list still.
Yes,
I
we'll
would
see
have
what
been
happens there.
less pumped if
Oh, yeah.
it was still just like
Right.
use all the old masteries like same as it ever was. Like I really like the forced changing things up.
It still might be that for Top Cut.
Who
knows?
Oh,
That has
right,
not been
the-
announced
the
yet.
announced
whatever the
I hope
modifier
that's
is
not
for
what
day
it is.
2
But
of
you wouldn't-
Worlds.
Yeah.
Devious would be so good.
Like, would you change your mastery then? Because then you're changing your deck.
you
Yeah.
need a new deck, basically.
They said there's a new format for Top
I know
Cut,
that,
So it
but, like-
might be literally no Frozen list.
I hope it's Little Cup. I hope it's all 500,000 or less MPs.
I clench. I thought you were gonna say only set 7.
That would
nothing
be
previous,
also
fine.
including starter decks.
That would be also
like-
because
fine.
that would be really cool. Like a test
Yeah.
pilot for a almost a focused format.
I would be 100% on board with that.
That would
That's
be really cool.
That's a better idea than the thing I just said.
The thing you said was obviously a joke.
Yes.
All Garlic
That's an actual
Juniors.
good idea.
It would be interesting.
Only Garlic Jr.
Goku would be really good.
There would be no Garlic Jr.
Goku
Would be good, but so would
Only
like
Garlic
Vegeta.
Jr.
Yeah, we'll see. I also.
No, I'm just saying. No, that's the stipulation. It's only Garlic Jr.
Garlic Juniors only.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Garlic Championships.
Welcome to the Garlic Dome.
But yeah, that's the beauty of it. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
we're
we don't
about to
know.
find out
It
in a
could be
week or
anything.
two.
You'd think they would have to announce that pretty soon,
Right. If people have to build decks for it.
or maybe you don't.
The night before.
You
Where they hand you
yeah,
decks.
you draw lots and you just get the deck.
Uh-huh.
Skilled
Ugh.
player wins.
Skill.
Something like
Exactly.
Sealed top cut at Worlds. I would lose my mind.
But they've mixed in set 1 and set 4 decks.
Fusion format. Dude. Anyway.
So yeah, we'll see. We will find
Dear
out.
God.
But until then, thank you for hanging out. Thank you for listening to all of that. It was a
God.
lot.
So long.
Send us an email.
Maybe send us an email.
Send us a pizza
Please.
roll.
So bored. Happy birthday, Pickens.
Sure. Is it actually his birthday
I think
soon?
so. I think it was today, which was
Oh no
3
shit!
days
Happy
ago.
birthday, Pickens.
Woohoo.
Wow.
Our
That's the
cat
cat signing
just said,
off.
And
Happy
yeah, with
birthday,
that, we
Pickens.
will see you next time. We will see you at Worlds.
Yes.
Yeah. We will be
Is it
streaming.
official?
Yes.
As far as I
Yeah.
know.
Well, announce.
Richie told me about it today, so it must be official.
Right.
All right, we will be holding down the fort at Worlds for
We are your
live
At
official
least
streaming
me.
partner
Live
for the
streaming
Dragon Ball Z
stuff.
Worlds.
That's
Ow,
right.
ow.
So some combination of us will be on stream all day talking over the event. Brian Valdez is gonna help out again with
Cool.
setup and bringing gear. He's
Oh,
driving
really?
in. So
Yeah, he
he's,
lives in
he's
New
got
York
more
general
options
area.
to carry things in than
Okay.
we do.
Oh, so does that mean we don't have to bring like anything?
we're
Probably
definitely
not as
gonna bring
much.
plenty. I'm definitely gonna bring some stuff, but
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
we're
but,
not on
like,
hook for everything.
That's awesome.
Which is awesome, and he did a great job at Texas. So
Yeah, he did. His setup was great.
and he's got crazy aspirational, like he's got some cool ideas for presentation stuff too
Okay.
that I bet will pull
I was
together
wondering
really well.
if you made that overlay. or
no,
if he
that
did.
was none of that was us.
Okay.
He was updating it.
Yeah,
while
all
we were
we
there.
provided was the voices and the perspective. He
Yep.
did all the heavy lifting, technically at least.
Yep.
So yeah, that'll happen.
Cool.
It'll be super fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Party.
November 12th.
I think that's correct. So
Like 2 weeks from today.
Yes.
yeah, two weeks from now. In fact, yeah, 2 weeks from the day this is posted,
Holy
because I'm gonna
crap.
make sure it
Yeah.
goes up tomorrow.
Next week is the Dragon Prix.
Yeah, we will see you then. So get ready for some fucking
luck out
off
there.
the chain Dragon Ball Z action in the very
Ow,
near
ow.
future.
Punch those
We will
dinosaurs.
see you guys later, everybody. Bye bye, internet.
Bye.
Rubber baby pocket poppers.